Whoa, we're here, everybody. Hello, congratulations, reference. Welcome to the You Will Discuss Evangelion recap episode.
I do have
If
an applause sound we can play. There we go.
if you're familiar with me and side questing content, you know what you're going to get. If you're not, this is going to be like school. But it's going to be fun school. So what I'm asking from my friends here is I'm going to be giving a presentation. You guys can chime in with questions. You can chime in with ideas or whatever. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be like school with the Socratic method where kids just start talking. So I want you guys to be involved because it can be boring if there's just one guy talking. But if you guys just want to hear me talk, I'm also okay with that. But before we get into the fun stuff here, this is Tyler, uh,
Hello.
the newest person on the side questing staff. He is also a cool guy. What's funny is JJ and I were talking about this series, and it got mentioned in the Discord, and he was like, "Hey, I'm already watching that." So it was like it was kind of cool. I'm like, okay, so it's his first time going through it. But what's interesting to me is he hasn't talked a lot about it in the Discord, so I don't know his opinions, his thoughts, or
Yeah,
anything.
I've
So
been I've been keeping it pretty quiet because I know you guys have been doing this, and I
yeah,
I watched like episode 0, and then I haven't actually gotten a chance to watch any of the other stuff that you guys have done yet. So I'm
That's
like,
great
really,
for us
we're all
because
coming in blind.
yeah, that's great for us because we're gonna drop some shit on you.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's gonna be stuff here, but it's gonna be interesting because um, I don't know. So whenever you watch this series for the first time, everyone gets something different from it. There's so many different perspectives and views you can come away from.
Yeah.
And this PowerPoint is more so it is a quick recap of the story because I feel like the story it's important, but the general story is pretty simple. The more complex and interesting things happens with the characters and the themes and the references and stuff within there. So that's what this is about, and I feel like that's more important. And those are the things that people don't catch on or they don't realize because we all have different knowledge bases of what we can refer to. But it's fun to point things out and be like, oh shit, that is true. And then it kind of just keeps kind of unraveling, especially as a first time watcher. It's like, there's no telling like what your knowledge is
Yeah.
or where
you
you're
guys
coming
know how
from.
earlier I said I was going to close this closet door so that my cat didn't get into it. The
Your
thumping I
cat
heard
got
earlier
in.
was actually my cat in the closet already. So sorry about
That's
that.
funny.
Anyway.
No need to apologize. This is a casual, chill experience.
Fireside chat.
We might be too serious, guys. I don't think we are, but it's just gonna
I
be
was just getting
chill.
freaked out because I kept hearing thumping. I was like, "What is that?"
So Tyler, I'm going
Yep.
to ask you two questions. What are your thoughts of the series, just like the original series, episode 1 through 26, and also who your favorite character is, and maybe favorite episode if you can remember. I know it's probably a lot, but
Yeah, so yeah, I did watch it. I forget when I started, but I do make a note of whenever I finish stuff, and I've been doing that ever since my daughter was born. So I can tell you that I finished the original series June 2nd, 2026.
damn,
So
that's
it has
crazy.
been a little bit over a month now since I finished it. And I have watched all of the movies since then. I know we're just covering the series, so I'll have to pull back on that stuff. But I really enjoyed the series in general. I did actually try to watch it like a few years ago. It was definitely before my daughter was born, and definitely like a few years before that, and she's like almost 3 now. So I got like 3 episodes in, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. 'Cause I'd never actually watched a lot of like mecha anime before. Like actually the only one I'd seen under my belt was Code Geass. And I was like, I
Yeah,
feel like I should watch something else. And I
Yeah.
watched a little bit of Gundam a couple of years ago, like the original series, and then Zeta Gundam. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? Let's try Ava this time. Completely unplanned because you guys had like been talked about this and had not mentioned it until I'd already started. Um, honestly, the first few episodes were like honestly like more like standard than what I expected. It wasn't like super deep to start off with, and like once the shift happened, I was like kind of unprepared for it in a way. Especially because a lot of times whenever I'm watching anime, it's like at the end of the day, and if I'm watching something, I'm usually like too tired to even like play a video game. So I'm just like in bed, like fully just like, all right, let's just watch something for a little bit. And there were times where I was like, oh man, I should probably be a little bit more focused for this. Um, I I actually remember really enjoying the last couple of episodes, and I don't know if that's controversial because it definitely I don't know a lot about the series or the production or anything. It feels like they ran out of budget, but like it's such a creative and fun way to feel like they ran out of budget, and
Yeah.
it's there was something very fun with all the imagery and stuff like that I really enjoyed. And as far as favorite character, I really liked Misato. I
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Yes.
honestly probably best girl. I do wish I kind of watched this whenever I was like 14, 15, something like that, because I feel like I would have been really into Asuka in a way that was probably unhealthy. But as an adult, probably yeah, definitely Misato. I mean, Shinji gets weird sometimes. When Shinji's being normal, I like him. um, Stuff in the movie that's not normal, I'm not the biggest fan of. But when Shinji can just pull back and just be a normal dude for a little bit, he's fine.
Yeah.
So
Shinji's a little freak, dude. He's
Yeah.
yeah,
It is funny going back and watching it this time around because you really do. It's like, wow, Shinji is actually way freakier than I remember him being.
yeah.
Like, especially when you're just really watching it for like to like really absorb lore stuff, like we've been doing for this one. You're just like, Shinji definitely it needs to have some sort of intervention.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because like the thing that's funny to me is like before this, my mental kind of thought was like, yeah, he gets weird kind of like halfway through, but then he will start in like the first episode. He's just a fucking freak, dude. He's
yeah.
still like it's crazy. It's so interesting how they accurately portray like an actual 14-year-old boy. Like he
yeah.
feels like a real kid, but
Yeah.
then he goes into some crevices that you're like, I'm not comfortable with that. But but yeah, do you remember your favorite episode?
He said the
Um,
last two.
yeah,
Oh,
I did enjoy the last two. Aside from that, trying to remember. I did pull up the episode list because it does kind of blur together in a
I mean,
way
like
whenever you watch it
16,
like
20,
that.
25, and 26, the weird artistic experimental
yeah.
episodes are
Yeah. Um. Oh man, there was. I can't remember which episode it was, but I like whenever it's kind of one of the more normalish episodes whenever they're all like trying to figure out like how to like snipe the one angel that like has the
Yeah.
yeah.
big barrier and stuff. Like that one's
Yeah.
fun. I will admit like it didn't have like as much like heavy duty like action as I expected, and
Yep.
like a lot of the stuff with the action was like very surprising to me in a way of like, man, they never figure out how to power these Avas in a way that's not just a giant extension cord that keeps getting cut.
Not until the show is off the rails and things get
Yeah.
as weird as they possibly can.
They figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. But yeah, that's also funny because like the preconception of this show is like, yeah, it's a mecha show, but it's like, is it like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like,
Like,
is it?
because I knew it was art, like kind of like more of like deeper than like a lot of stuff because
Yeah.
I'd heard stuff about it through osmosis, and I think the thing that always got thrown around was like deconstruction of the mecha genre, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna watch a deconstruction of the mecha genre, I should probably watch more mecha than Code Geass, which is like
Yeah.
only half mecha anyway.
Yeah. It's hard, like, if all you've watched is stuff that came out after Eva, like, people, that's where you run into a lot of the problems of people not, like, being able to fully lock in on what's going
Mm,
on here because, like, that was the point at the very, very, very beginning. Was like, it's like you've watched Gundam, you think it's look how
Yeah.
it's a bummer, but like it's
Yeah.
still at the end of the day a cool
We got
action.
kids fighting
Yeah,
wars and giant robots. Like,
yeah, yeah. And and,
I do
and it
also think
like
it's worth
yeah.
noting that I did watch the series in Japanese,
Yeah.
so I usually watch subs for most of the stuff unless I'm watching it with my wife. She prefers dubs when possible. So I know there's like some iconic lines like from the original dub, especially. I
Yeah.
did watch it on Netflix too, so whatever cut they have.
So the Netflix is the new script. So Zach and I watched what would be considered the new dub. It's the
Yeah.
Netflix dub with the Netflix script, which is
It's so good.
improved
It's so
on
fucking good.
every level. The original script, English script, and dub is mostly terrible.
Okay. I
So
wasn't sure
yeah,
if it was beloved in a good way or like because I feel I've heard like getting the robot Shinji, but it
yeah,
doesn't even translate like that in the sub, or at least the way Netflix translated it. So
yeah. And Zach and I have brought it up multiple times that it makes no sense that it became a meme because that's never really anything that happens in the
Yeah.
show. And if anything, Shinji doesn't ever want to leave the robot. You actually can't
Yeah.
keep him out of
He
it.
really
loves
just
he
the first
loves
episode
being
that he
being in
doesn't
that
want to,
thing.
and then he's like, "Wait, I actually enjoyed it. It's the only
Yeah,
thing I have."
yeah, it's like 15 minutes of him not wanting to be in the robot in its totality, I think.
Yeah, that's what's so weird is like that's the meme, but it's like really he's in it every time he needs to be. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
I
He
don't
ke-
know.
he keeps thinking he doesn't want to be in it. He keeps
yeah.
being like, "I want to quit," and then like something happens, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Man,
one of
I
his
just."
friends get mercilessly fucked up, and they can't. Like, he has to get in the robot again.
It is also funny, like in the first few episodes, because I've definitely heard people complain about like whiny protagonists, especially in anime. Before, I've seen all of My Hero Academia, so I feel like the thing that stands out the most to me is like people complaining about Deku's character, especially in the
Yeah.
early seasons.
Mhm.
Shinji's real whiny in a way that I'm like, man, just pick a
Also,
lane at this point.
yeah, there also a lot of the whininess of Shinji got kind of overblown. Like he is whiny, and he is
Yeah.
like he's weaselly, but the original dub, the voice actor kind of triples down on sort of having a whiny wiener voice for Shinji, and
Okay.
it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It normally
the
doesn't bother
current
me. I think the peak
yeah,
for it was like that whatever episode it was, whenever he's like to the point where it's like, I'm at the train station, I'm leaving, I'm
yeah,
getting out of town, I'm really done
yeah,
with you guys. And it's
yeah.
like, and then he's just like, oh man, mm,
I love
and I'm
my
like,
friend.
okay, just go back. After this point, you've hit your character development, and I don't think
Yeah,
I'm going to be as annoyed with you anymore. So
Yeah. And it's like it's also a machine they use to like drive the point in. Like they're like that's Anno pointing at certain people who might avoid things in their life or avoid approaching certain topics or whatever. So like that's the point. It's kind of heavy handed at first. But like yeah, like when people say Shinji's annoying, it's like that's the whole reason he exists is
yeah,
to
yeah,
is to make you feel annoyed because you're
yeah,
kind of seeing parts of yourself and you're like
yeah.
it's kind of uncomfortable.
Everyone's gonna boo me and throw tomatoes at me for this, but it's like the Jar Jar Binks situation. It's like everyone hates him. He's annoying. It's like everyone in the movie hates him and finds him annoying too.
Yeah.
Like that's the point. He's supposed to
yeah.
be that way.
Jar Jar Binks is cool though.
Yes.
I think he's really funny. I'm just-
My first
He's a
Star
character
Wars
written
was
for
episode
children.
one because I found the DVD in my dad's like DVD collection, and I was like, it says episode one, so I'm supposed to start with this one, right? I've heard of Star Wars before. This
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's a weird way to watch Star Wars in that order because it's not like the first episodes 1, 2, and 3 are all like foreshadowing information that you already know the answer to. So if you just start there, it's just a bunch of people being weird for no reason,
Like, yeah,
saying weird things. Like,
there's a prophecy of the chosen one that I was like, what? Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
You have the age to start with the prequels as well, because that first one came out in like '99, I think.
yeah,
So, but
99. It's also, is that the year End of came out? No.
no, aren't we like let's see. I guess we can
98?
find.
yeah, hold on.
I
I'm
would
on
say
the
because
Wikipedia. '97.
yeah.
Whoa.
Because remember, we're hitting the 30th anniversary of
Right. That's
everything.
literally,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That's why
fellas,
it's playing in theaters next week.
it's like we planned it. We didn't plan it. It just happened. It's God gave us a gift with this one.
We've been touched.
Yeah, July 19th, 1997. We are just a few days away from that.
Yeah, that's just, which is crazy. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that this falls right here. The only thing I regret is not having the Kwaru episode fall within Pride Month. That's the only
Oh, yeah.
thing that I'm just like disappointed about.
That felt very progressive in a
yeah.
weird way for like a '90s anime.
Yeah, the
and
whole
Japan. Like,
and
Yeah.
Japan, yeah.
Which
And
I
that-
don't know, because I mean, like I've seen like the original Cardcaptor Sakura, and that anime is
Yeah.
also gay as hell. So
Mhm.
like,
yeah. But
Yeah.
like Yuri is a completely different situation in Japan.
well,
than,
her brother's also really into what's his face.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but it's
like,
not so like it's not so blatant.
Yeah,
Like-
Kairyu's trying to like hold Shinji, like embrace Shinji in the nude.
And it was definitely a point where I was like, oh, okay, so like this is a weird, interesting twist, especially because like at that point, like Asuka is just like in full like depression mode, holding whatever romance they had going there. Because I was totally expecting them to touch parts at some point, but
hey, buddy, there's a movie coming up. You get to see
Yeah.
it.
well, somebody's parts get touched.
Someone's part gets touched.
But yeah, no, and then he gets introduced and then killed in like the same episode or the episode after. I can't remember the
Nope,
It's
flow.
the
same
same
The
episode.
same episode. I was like, oh,
One
okay,
of the
shit, this
singular
escalated.
most important characters in the entirety of the franchise, and he's in it in the original series for like 15 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. And then right after that is whenever his smash cuts to the weird, like, super trippy, like human instrumentality. We ran out of budget. Here's a bunch of like sketches and real world shots. Like,
We killed the final angel, and now shit's falling apart.
Yeah, it's crazy to end the series with those two episodes.
Yeah.
I can't
and-
imagine what it would have felt like not knowing that there was more after
Well,
that, because I
that's
knew
the
that there was
thing,
End of
too.
Evangelion after, and I was like, that was cool, and like I really enjoyed it, but also
Yeah.
like what actually happened?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I mean, Zach talked about it a few times, where it's just like I couldn't imagine not being able to just like watch the next one, like having to wait a week to get like to have some of the way some of these shows end, and then or even in some cases like have the next episode be like it's like, okay, I just watched this and now we're going to, we just watched episode 15 and now we're going to smash cut directly into episode 16 where
And
Shinji
it's not like
is-
we're little babies that don't remember like weekly releases on TV. I think we're all old enough to remember that, but like I don't watch stuff week to week anymore. I actually really dislike doing that, especially with anime where their episodes are so short, like 23 minutes on average, like without commercials and everything. So like I wait for anime, especially to get like 2 or 3 seasons in, binge it, and then just wait till the next season and then start the whole series over again. So
How many episodes are on those VHS tapes you got, Zach? It's like 2.
I think it's 2. Yeah.
oh man, yeah, there was like 2 or 3.
$30
I remember.
a piece.
Isn't Stefan watching them on like some like older DVDs? They're not the Blu-ray.
No,
they're not like the
bought
newest
him.
Blu-rays.
I bought him the Blu-ray for
Okay.
Secret Santa, so he's watching them on Blu-ray, but he had to buy a Blu-ray player. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Okay, I thought it was like some older like DVD that maybe only had like 3 episodes or something, like some of those old ones did.
oh yeah, baby.
No.
$90 for the entirety. No, wait. Yeah, $90 for the entirety of Fooly Cooly. That's great. Thanks. I love it.
6 episodes.
6 episodes. 2 episodes per disc, $29.99.
Speaking of
Right.
Fooly Cooley, that guy directed this show.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of Ano and just like other shows like tangentially related to Evangelion, I have a fun story, also weirdly related to Sonic. So I haven't finished it. I do need to go back to it, but whenever I was a kid, I watched the Sonic OVA a lot. The Metal Sonic one where like they're
Yep.
fighting. I had the VHS and it had an ad at the beginning for Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water.
That's
And I
crazy.
thought that was the most like mystical, amazing shit ever. And I could never find it anywhere because I live in like rural North Carolina. Like none of those shops around here. There's no
Yeah.
like, Suncoast or anything like that. Like, I mean, I had like GameStop and Books a Million. Like, like I don't even know where I think I got the Sonic OVA VHS on Amazon actually. So I finally got this Blu-ray last Christmas, I believe, or the Christmas before last. And I watched like half of it and I didn't finish it. I need to get back to it because it's on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And anytime I want to watch something, my wife's like, please come lay in bed with me. I'm so lonely. I'm reading. Come lay in bed next to me. So I have to watch stuff that's on streaming to be in the bed with her. So I do want to watch that now that I have seen Evangelion, because it even says on the box, I don't even know if you can see it, from the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion. My camera might be mirrored, but oh no, it's not. There we go. Yeah.
Yep.
And I do remember you guys mentioning that, like, I think he was like super depressed and didn't want to work on this show or something.
Yeah.
The production of this show would inevitably, it's a straight line to Evangelion and why Evangelion is the way it is.
So he worked on Nadia because Miyazaki had something he wanted to make, and Anno worked on Mononoke, I think.
Yeah, Mononoke.
Okay.
And so Miyazaki's like, hey kid, I like your vibe here, do this thing. He said okay, but he had no creative input. He wasn't able to do anything, so he was just like the guy who did shit for Miyazaki, and that drove him into a 4-year depression. And in that 4-year depression is where this show comes from.
Yeah.
They put that on the box like it's something to advertise.
And
also a lot of the sort of weird like pervy stuff in Evangelion spins right out of his distaste for how everyone looked at Nadia. Like,
okay. I didn't, like I said, I didn't finish it, but yeah, I could definitely tell like some of that stuff, and I'm like, okay, I see where you're. But I was enjoying it. I definitely do want to finish it, and I'm into like weird water stuff, like being on the ocean and stuff like that. So
Tyler, big fan of water sports.
I'm playing Black Flag Resynced right now. I like pirates.
He loves water.
Waterworld, not a bad movie actually.
Wind Waker all time.
Wind Waker is good.
Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda, actually.
Yeah. So. Sapphire.
So, fellas, I think it's time.
It's time.
Are we ready to go to school?
It's time for Zach mode. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready me to hit add?
Hit add right now. Do it. Woo! There it is. Okay, students, welcome. This is the lecture series. So this is me boiling everything down as much as I can to its most simple components. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to break down characters. I'm going to break down concepts. So within Ava, we have a lot of philosophical ideas and a lot of religious ideas. And viewers, people on Reddit, whatever, they like to say that the religious symbolism and all these things are just there for window dressing. It's just there to make it look cool. But philosophy and religion, they go hand in hand. They're very intertwined, especially the philosophers and things that are referenced in this show are guys who directly dealt with God and thinking about the divine. So it's like they're not separate when they're used. It's hard to separate the religion from the philosophy. So that's kind of what this is over, but it's going to be
I'm
fun
glad we're
because
hitting the religious stuff because that was the part where I was like, I feel like this is where I need to like do some more studying on. I'm not
yeah,
just gonna glean it from watching it once, especially because like weirdly enough, I didn't grow up super religious. Like there's a Baptist church on every corner here where I live, but like
mm,
there's actually a church like down like just you can see it from my house.
yeah.
But like I've never been like super religious. I never really went to church as a kid. So like a lot of that stuff, like I'm just like, yeah, the angels blow up and they make crosses. I
Mhm.
can see that.
Yeah, it's really cool to me because I like occult stuff. I like the old Kabbalah, like the first books that were created that created the Bible, they created Judaism, that created all these things. Like that's what this show uses, and that's like those first books, basically the Old Testament, is what a lot of philosophers talked about, and a lot of things that they used to get their ideas across at the time. So it's like it's not like you can't separate the philosophy from the religion because it's used in an intentional way from the authors and also from the creators of the show. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to throw a lot at you.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
I think also, and I'm sure it comes up at some point in Zach's presentation, but Tyler, you have to also keep in the back of your head
Oh
while
yeah,
experiencing this show that this show was made in 1994 1995 in a in a time where research involves going to the library. um
you can't just Google it.
you
It's
just
Yeah.
can't Google this and find, you can't Google cool religious paintings and get concepts like, and it's not even limited to like religious stuff too. There's biological and technological concepts that are mentioned constantly throughout this show. There's just a lot of stuff that can only, like, you don't accidentally reference this stuff, connect this stuff, and and like have it be work out and be
yeah,
truthful at the same, like you don't accidentally fall into it over and over and over again. Like these are all
Oh yeah.
people involved in the production of this show that were locked the
the
fuck in.
fucking yeah, and
So,
that's what's it's so crazy because people like to say, "Oh, it's just the cool stuff," but it's like it's literally like they did it on purpose and it's there for a reason, and
yeah,
it's just so wild that people separate that.
yeah,
Yeah. It is wild to think about. Like, I mean, like I knew it intellectually, but to hear you say it out loud of like, yes, the internet wasn't as prevalent back then. It was in its
Yeah,
infancy, but it's like you
yeah,
could not Google stuff. And like I don't even know like what the split was between like those kinds of advancements in America versus Japan.
yeah.
Because like I
Mhm.
was around in 95, 96. I kind of know what computers were doing back then, but I don't know what that looked like in Japan. So
Yeah.
Right, and like they also use them correctly. They use the references in a correct manner where it makes sense. So it's not window dressing. It's not an
yeah.
aesthetic choice. So overall structure, the story, the characters, the cool stuff. JJ mentioned like technology and biology. I am not inherently interested in that stuff, so that's lacking from here. But that's just to show that there's other avenues to
Yeah.
look at. Yeah, I couldn't add all that into this because it would have been crazy. Anyways, the story, the tapestry, ooh, episode recap episode. So tapestry, it's pretty simple to me. This is we have a point A, a point B, and a point C. Yeah, so now that we can fully talk about the animated series Sans End of Evangelion, I feel we can I feel like I can finally approach a synopsis. So if you go back to episode 0 and episode 1 of this podcast, we pretty much said, yeah, there's robots and some really psychological, religious, philosophical stuff in the show, and you'll see it eventually. What we didn't mention was how the show lays the groundwork for the execution of the more heady elements in the latter half, and how well thought out the whole tapestry is, right? Ava shows us these characters in their normal lives. It lets us understand them and understand how they work, how their minds go, how they interact with the world around them. And it also shows us the real ramifications of their actions. And that's what matters the most is the individual actions within the plot. Every single character has a unique turning point that unfurls something, and there's never a moment where it feels out of place. There's always a character making a choice that unfurls another character or the plot. It's really well written. The core isn't about the technobabble, the religious iconography, the references. They're all just things that help us inform the characters. They make up the world that the characters live in, and the deep understanding from the creators is the spark that ignites the characters to dance around on the screen. Boiling down the story, here's how I would describe Ava to a person who's already seen the series. Evangelion is a story about the struggle of humanity on an individual level. With the weight of the world on multiple shoulders, how do these people approach daily life? What drives them? With the doom of humanity on the horizon, God angry at its creations, how would these people somehow try and fight back? What is the meaning of life, and how do we find love within it? That's how I would describe the show. I think it's a good synopsis. And then to kind of drive this home, there's a quote from Hideaki Anno himself. He said, "This is roughly the worldview of Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is a worldview drenched in a vision of pessimism, a worldview where the story starts only after any traces of optimism have been removed. They say to live is to change. I started this production with the wish that once the production complete, the world and the heroes would change. This was my true desire. I tried to include everything of myself, and I myself am a broken man who could do nothing for 4 years, a man who ran away for 4 years, one who was simply not dead. Then one thought came to my mind: you can't run away. And I restarted the whole production. It is a production where my only thought was to burn my feelings into film." Yeah, that guy's awesome. So the pawns. These are the guys on God's chessboard. Starting here, we have our boy Shinji. So he gonna break down these characters. He bears the emotional agony of saving a world that isolates him. He is a direct reflection of Jean Paul Sartre. It's like his whole thing is existence precedes essence. So it's the foundational maxim of existentialism. It means you are born first, and then you spend your life defining your purpose and nature through your choices, your essence. You are the ultimate author of your own meaning. And then he's also a very cool use of Carl Jung, who posited that every male psyche contains an internal, unconscious feminine archetype called the anima. So Shinji's path to self-acceptance is extremely mediated through the women around him. They represent different facets of his own fractured mind. In episode 25 and 26, his internal monologue forces him to synthesize his perceptions of Rei, Asuka, and Misato. His visual and psychological androgyny reflects a mind that is actively wrestling with itself, trying to bridge the gap between his internal identity and external reality to become a complete human being. And then, yeah, so that's Shinji. He's cool. But then we have the true main character of the show. Tyler, this might be crazy to you, but Misato is the main character. She is the driving force behind everything that happens from episode 1 to episode 16. Like, she makes choices that no normal person would make, but she has this like undying faith to know that it's going to happen. She has this knowledge of the whole story, seemingly. It's really interesting. And once you get to the end, and it's kind of implied that there's a time loop sort of thing, she's definitely very aware she's stuck within that time loop and within a TV show too, which is crazy. So her thing is she provides the literal structure for the pilots, and as their tactical commander and legal guardian, she attempts to create a domestic womb to protect her children. She starts as the main character of the series. Blah blah blah. She is represented by Albert Camus. He is the absurdist stoic. So his whole thing was being deeply aware of the world, but choosing to confront the absurdity of it by taking action. She's serious, but creates moments of warmth. She's understanding and shows true love for Shinji, Asuka, and Rei, despite the cruelty of the world that she is forced to live in. She's awesome. I love her. Then we have
I just want to posit something with Misato for a minute,
Yeah.
because we were talking about how she is aware that she's in a TV show. That's a very important concept for Zach and I's uh, breakdown of Evangelion as an entire work of art. But like, I think one thing that kind of gets lost that within this is that, remember, at the end of every episode, she
Oh yeah.
is telling you what's going to happen next. She is dressing you. We watching the show are also characters in the show, really. We're the witnesses of these events. We are at church, experiencing this, and she's at times in the next episode previews, she is outright lying
Yep.
to get you to keep going, to keep
Yeah.
moving
To
forward with the
don't
show.
don't run away.
Don't run away.
I
She
don't know
will
if she does this in the English dub like previews, but like she's straight up like will be like, "Hey, the fan service next episode." Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what she says.
that's one of her major things. And there are times where it's like you get towards the end and she is just like sugarcoating, like, bring your friends. And we know watching now that the episode she's telling you to like have a watch party with your friends is like going to be the most depressing. It's like, I think it's the one where, I think it might be the like history of Nerve or whatever episode, or is that like it, where it's like
Oh, the one that has like her flashbacks,
yeah, her
or yeah,
flashbacks and
yeah,
everything, where it's just like, it's extremely odd to like, but she will do anything to keep the course of events moving forward, and that includes bringing you along. It's very if you
Yeah.
go too deep, it's very interesting sometimes.
And
But
then in the rebuilds, it's just kind of there, which is crazy.
yeah,
Anyways, Ray, she on the surface, you could say, there's not much to say about her, but there's a lot to say about Ray. She begins as a passive, empty material vessel, a clone. Uh-oh. She eventually elevates to become the physical manifestation of a godlike being, acting as the cosmic gateway between heaven and earth. She is also Shinji's mom and the thing that drives the Evangelions. Rei is represented by Descartes. So her internal monologues are, they use Cartesian doubt. So his whole thing was he would talk about the struggle to identify your own self and your own reality. So her constantly being, who am I? What am I? Because her soul is housed in a replaceable vessel. She views her body as distinct from her consciousness, which is very important. Her journey is poetic. It's a reenactment of Descartes' cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. As she transitions from a living object to a self-aware, thinking individual. She also uses dualism a lot, where she is thinking outside of her body a whole lot in the show. She's really cool. I like her in the rebuilds a lot. Yeah.
yeah, it's a character that benefits the most from this everything after the TV
Yeah.
show proper. Because by the time you get to the end of the TV show, she has become a completely, the character hasn't changed at all, but your understanding and view of Rey has changed completely.
completely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I definitely don't think
Uh,
I thought too much of Ray as it went on, especially once Asuka is introduced and kind of
yeah,
like takes the spotlight in terms of like the girl,
yeah,
to the point where like I feel like I was surprised that like the Sonic Crossworlds like characters were going to be Ray and Asuka. Like Asuka
Yeah.
made sense, but I was like maybe
it's one
Shinji
hundred
or like
percent
even
just Ray because it's the funniest option.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And Anno's really protective of Shinji. He's like
yeah,
he kind of keeps him away from everything.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Anno sees himself in Shinji the most. I feel like. Then we have best girl, my favorite character, Asuka Langley Soryu. So she views the world through a lens of judgment and hyper individualist pride, which is interesting because she's German. That's kind of what German people do. Anyways, so she is Friedrich Nietzsche. She is the Ubermensch, the Overman.
Yeah.
It's the will to power masked by profound psychological trauma. She bases her entire self worth on external validation and dominance. When her competence fails, her ego shatters. A brilliant exploration of how building a constructed identity ultimately will alienate us from our true selves. Um, and then there he is, Gendo. Love him or hate him, he's here. Gendo operates, he's the tyrannical architect of nerve, seeking to force his way into the position of godhood to reunite with his beautiful wife, Yui. His thing, I think, is like nihilism and the will from Schopenhauer. His whole thing is like pessimistic philosophy of the will. So um, he's unable to cope with the loss of his wife, Yui, so he views the phenomenal world as a meaningless thing, nihilism. His entire ambition is a metaphysical revolt, the human instrumentality project, which seeks to erase all boundaries, effectively mirroring the Schopenhauerian desire to escape suffering of individual existence through the dissolution of yourself. And also, him and Will, like the will to preserve, that is in the rebuilds as well. I'm just saying. I think they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think they had a plan.
Yeah.
Then we have Yui. She is, I think, the one character I never thought about the most, but the one character I feel like I have a greater appreciation for this time around. I think she might be the most important character in the whole like series.
Yeah.
She's really important, really cool. Um, so long before Nerve, Yui foresaw the cataclysmic plans of Seele and willfully chose to absorb her soul into Unit 1 to serve as an eternal monument to humanity's existence. She is probably the most important character within the greater philosophical, theological ideas of the show. So her thing is Baruch Spinoza. So his whole thing is, I'll just read it. So Yui's ultimate goal, fusing with Ava Unit 1, directly mirrors Spinoza's theology, the concept. So Spinoza rejected a personified God, arguing that God and the physical universe are one and the same entity. To exist eternally within nature is the highest state of being a reflection of the world and of yourself. So Yui, rejecting Seele, forced evolution. So she rejected Sele's forced evolution and instead creates her own form of godhood to reject the modern thought. So by trapping her soul inside Ava Unit 1, she ensures she will survive even if the sun, moon, and earth disappear. She chooses to become an immortal physical monument to humanity's existence. And then she's also Freud. She also represents Freud here. So Freud, crazy guy. His mom was probably super hot. Yui represents the ultimate psychological framework of the good mother, mixed with the deep Oedipal themes of so the concept here is Freud emphasized the mother as the absolute source of safety, life, and the early ego, but also as a powerful psychological force that can completely dominate a child's development. So, as Ava Unit 1, Yui physically swallows Shinji into her mechanical womb to protect him, acting as a literal deus ex machina. Her presence is entirely her love and presence is entirely unconditional. However, this safety is a double-edged sword. Her absence destroys Gendo's sanity, while her lingering soul traps Shinji in a perpetual loop of seeking her warmth through her clone Rei. So there's this really this one to me when I was doing all my research, I was just like, holy shit, dude, this is fucking crazy. We got Kwaru Nagisa.
I do want to say with Yui, I fell down a rabbit hole of watching Reddit argue on if Yui is actually like evil. like it was very interesting to watch like the arguments of Yui.
Yeah, I don't think she's evil.
Yeah.
Her intentions are pure.
Yeah, there are a couple of moments where she's doing like in the flashback episode where there's a couple of times where they do make her look very intense.
Evil. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
a couple of her turning to the camera sometimes. Yeah,
she's just focused on her goal.
Yeah.
So Kwaru Nagisa, love this guy. So he's the literal personification of pure grace. In a universe of trauma, Kwaru offers Shinji unconditional validation. So he's more Kierkegaard, who's my favorite philosopher. So he's about religious existentialism and the concept of agape, which is like transcendent, unconditional love. Kierkegaard believed that objective certainty is impossible in a chaotic world. So to truly live, find meaning, or experience love, an individual must make a subjective leap of faith into the unknown, choosing to believe and care despite the risks. Kwaru's affection for Shinji and humanity does not rely on them proving their worth or earning his love. He acknowledges his baseline pain of human existence, but embraces it anyway. His love is an existential choice, a pure leap of faith that offers Shinji a brief glimpse of absolute acceptance in a world that otherwise is defined by isolation. What a guy. Then we got Ritsuko Akagi. She was a fun one to dig into. There's this guy, his name's Bacon, so Baconian. So he's a rational philosopher. So his whole thing is he views the pursuit of scientific knowledge as the ultimate virtue, and it's detached from moral sentiment. Baconian philosophy argues that nature must be conquered, decoded, and systemically controlled through data, technology, and objective detachment. So Ritsuko treats the horrific truth of the Avas and the dummy plug system with chilling scientific indifference. She reduces human souls, clones, angels, everything to just code. And she acts as a buffer for Gendo's schemes by hiding behind the shield of objective science, believing that logic can conquer the chaotic absurdity of their reality. And then the GOAT. This is him, dude. Kaji, the underspoken like low-key hero for Shinji at least. So he is, I put it down as Socratic gadfly, which is this thing I'll dig into here. So he's dedicated to exposing the uncomfortable truths hidden beneath the surface of society. Socrates believed that an unexamined life is not worth living and that seeking truth is a moral duty, even if that pursuit upsets powerful institutions and ultimately results in your execution. Kaji is driven by an insatiable desire to uncover the objective truth behind the second impact in human instrumentality. He uses his charm, intellect, and skills to piece together the global conspiracy. He knows his investigation will get him killed, but like Socrates, he accepts his fate because he values the truth above his own survival. Kaji's famous hobby of tending to his watermelon patch is a profound expression of Epicurean philosophy as well. So, Epicureanism posits that the highest good is to achieve a state of tranquility and freedom from fear. So, this is found not through grand ambitions or power, but through modest pleasures like friendship and deep connections to the natural physical world. Um, Kaji and his watermelons. And that whole scene with the watermelons is really important, and also is a good mirror for Shinji to look at him and his internal misogyny and be like, "Yo, wait, I'm kind of looking at this from the wrong angle." What he takes from that, I don't think is good, but So, Unit 1, we have to talk about her. Is she actually? So we've said this before, that Misato is the main character. Well, then Yui's kind of the main character. Shinji's the main character, but is Unit 1 actually maybe the main character too? So when she goes berserk, there are all these moments and things that happen, and they're very important. So while Gendo and Sele believe that they're the ones masterminding this apocalypse, the entire narrative arc of Evangelion is actually a stage play orchestrated by Yui through Unit 1. Yui is not a merely tragic victim of a scientific accident. She is a calculating, highly ambitious bioengineer who willingly sacrificed her physical form to hijack the apocalypse and secure the ultimate destiny of humankind. In the year 2004, Yui conducted the infamous contact experiment with Unit 1. Ostensibly, this was a routine test of nerve synchronization technology. In reality, Yui knew exactly what would happen. She deliberately allowed Unit 1 to absorb her physical body and soul. Whenever Shinji is in fatal danger throughout the whole series, Eva Unit 1 moves entirely on its own, entering a terrifying berserk state and brutally obliterating the enemies. This is not a machine malfunctioning. It's Yui's soul waking up to protect her son. She directly manages Shinji's survival multiple times, ensuring that her chosen pilot lives long enough to inherit the ultimate choice of the third impact. During the battle with the 14th angel, Eva Unit 1 goes berserk, breaks his armor, and literally devours the angel's flesh. By doing this, Yui allows Unit 1 to ingest the S2 engine, because Unit 1 already built from the flesh of Lilith. Yui successfully merges with cosmic fruits into a single physical user. She creates Adam in a mechanical form, a self-sustaining, independent god. And she did that herself.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. This is another moment where I was just like, wait a minute. Like, I was like, holy shit, wait. I was like, wait, Yui, she knew. And then another main character here. This is the literal physical manifestation of the psychological boundary between the self and the outside world. Freud, so this is a more Freudian thing. He defined the ego as the part of the mind that creates a sense of identity, separating me from the not me to protect itself from psychological trauma and external threats. The ego deploys a subconscious defense mechanism that helps keep others at a safe distance. In Eva, the AT field is explicitly described as the wall of the heart. It is a protective barrier that keeps a person's mind from being overwhelmed or violated by the thoughts and feelings of others. However, the defense mechanism has a tragic cost. By keeping others out to avoid being hurt, it locks the individual inside their own psychological prison. Sad. And then we have the angels. So they perfectly capture Otto's concept of the numinous, which is this profound experience of encountering a divine power that is simultaneously terrifying and awe-inspiring. The angels they're not evil. They're just utterly alien. They're just kind of coming here to do something, right? They're not trying to hurt people. They don't share human morality, language, or logic. From the geometric perfection of Ramiel to the shadow dimension of Lilel, their bizarre anatomy defies human understanding. They evoke an existential dread because they remind humanity of its insignificance in the face of a vast, incomprehensible cosmos. Otto described the numinous as a dual sensation. It is a hidden horror that makes us tremble, and a fascinating majesty that draws us in. Represents a power completely outside human logic. So these are the pawns that create everything else.
There's a lot of Godzilla with the angels in particular, because because Godzilla isn't, and it, it's obviously in the more serious Godzilla movies, Godzilla is nature. Godzilla is not necessarily a creature or a monster. It's just a force of nature that has existed and always existed, but it was mankind that they're what they've done, the mistakes that they've made and the choices that they've made along the way lead to it's like the original movie. It leads directly to awakening Godzilla, and Godzilla isn't like taking revenge. Godzilla has been awoken because mankind is arrogant and stupid and fucked up, and it's now awakened and it just does what it does. Like, that's just what Godzilla is doing. And we spend the entire time not really trying to figure out anything other than how to stop it.
How do we stop the problem that we created?
Mankind unable to, opening a box they can't close and then having to deal with it. And surprisingly enough, Ano does a great job later on of really hammering that point home by making Godzilla be a permanent monument in the middle of Japan. A constant reminder of, we did this.
Tyler, you should watch Shin Godzilla if you haven't.
Yeah, I need to get around to those because I'm not super versed in Godzilla. I've seen some of those newer American ones, and those are fun, but I definitely want to go back and watch some of the older Japanese ones that are good, and then definitely the new ones that they've done.
The thing about Shin is that it is 100% standalone.
Yeah.
It is its own thing, and it is just another episode of Evangelion.
Really. That's what it is. It plays out like an Eva episode, has the same music, the same exact music.
That's great.
It's awesome. So the the more cool. So the things that we just saw will inform the greater tapestry. The things that people say are here. Yeah. So we have this. A very familiar sight to anyone who's watched Evangelion. This is on the roof of Gendo's office. This is the tree of life. This thing, we get to see it used very coolly in the Evangelion movie, End of Evangelion. But for now, we'll just kind of piece this together. So the tree of life. So in the Kabbalah, the ancient esoteric philosophy and school of thought in Jewish mysticism, it's derived from the Hebrew word to receive or tradition. It explores the hidden inner dimensions of the Torah, the nature of God, and the origins of the universe. So the Kabbalah, that thought is where a lot of Ava stuff comes from, that old ancient Judaistic thought process. So the tree of life is a term from the Hebrew system of exegesis, named the Kabbalah. So to describe a diagram composed of 10 numbers and 22 letters, number 20 to 22, also the layers for Nerve HQ. Interesting. So the 10 numbers are the 10 sayings of God in the first chapter in Genesis, in which he wrought the universe with 22 layers. I noted here layers to Nerve HQ, letters to the Hebrew alphabet, interpolated between these numbers. So there's all these things. There's these orbs that are connected. I'm going to go through them. So the Sephirotic tree is sometimes depicted. This is called the Sephiroth for people who don't know. The tree of life, Sephiroth, same thing.
Yes, and that character from Final Fantasy VII also comes from that name, which is, of course, probably how a lot of people watching this maybe had first heard of that.
Mm-hmm. So it's sometimes depicted as a human body, more definitely establishing the true identity of the first or heavenly man, Adam. So the Sephiroth is more of like the idea of the universe, of how they see, like the top is heaven and the bottom is earth, essentially. So to break it down, we have Keter, which is the highest node. It represents the ultimate source of divine light, pure will, and absolute transcendence. It exists above human comprehension. Character representation here, Yui Akari. She is the mastermind behind the entire timeline of the show. Makes sense. So then we have Chokma. It represents the masculine flash of creation, raw power, active force, and the metaphorical divine father, Gendo. The top right of the pillar. Then we have Bina, which is the mother, the Magi system, Ritsuko's mom. So it's the feminine archetype of structure, the matrix of the world, contemplation, and the divine mother that gives physical shape to the raw energy that exists. Then we have Chesed, which represents unconditional love, boundless compassion, tolerance, and absolute kindness. That is our boy Kawaru Nagisa. Then we have Gavora, which is severity, judgment, Asuka. Stands opposite of Chesed, so it's the opposite expression. That's how a lot of these things work too on this graph. It's like on the left we have love, on the right it's like the fucked up shit. So it represents power, strict discipline, fierce judgment, aggression, and violent boundaries. Asuka holds that node with pride. She's defined by fire, combat, pride, and aggressive independence. While Kawaru seeks to dissolve boundaries through love, Asuka uses her fierce ego, and judgment to push everyone away. Teferet, beauty, harmony, the sacrifice hero node. I wonder who goes here. Shinji. Teferet is the dead center of the tree. Boop. And it balances mercy and severity. It traditionally is associated with the sacrificed son or the Messiah figure who must hold the weight of the entire world. And then we have Netzach, who represents instinctive emotion, passion, raw desire, keen-eyed viewers. And their survival instinct is driven by gut feelings rather than logic. Misato. She personifies this with her emotional vitality. She acts as Nerve's tactical commander based heavily on intuition and recklessly gambles in her passion. She's the emotional anchor for the entire show, and Shinji and Asuka and Rei, operating entirely from her heart and her flaws. Then we have Hod, which sits opposite of Netzach, it represents a more rational thought, scientific analysis, order, logic, and cold data. Okay, so we have Ritsuko. And then we have Yisad, which is the foundation, the astral reflection. Rei. So this is the interesting part. Yisad within this tree of life, it's seen as the filter of the foundation. The foundation is earth. So right above the physical world, there's the heavenly bodies. It is associated with the subconscious mind. It mirrors dreams and illusions. It's the bridge between spiritual and physical. Then we have Malkuth, which is us, humans. Lilin, that's us, guys. Is the bottommost node, representing the dense physical universe where souls are locked into physical bodies and experiencing, guess what the tree of life says the bodies here experience? The pain of isolation. Interesting. This thing that people like to say, is just there to look cool. I don't know. It doesn't. And then we watch End of Evangelion, and there's an entire moment where there's a thing within this thing, and you're like,
I will say, like, having just recently watched like probably like the newest like watch of the group, obviously. That is the part that I definitely understood the least was like all the religious stuff.
Mhm.
And I still was like, I know this is important. I know I'm missing something by not delving into this a little bit more.
Yep.
Normally I would probably like, read some wiki pages or just like, look into it more if I ever rewatch it again. But whatever, I'm just gonna let you tell me about it now.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna be honest. The wiki pages won't really help. I think
you guys don't even know, dude.
Yeah, the breakdown of this stuff has to be more conversational because everyone's gonna pick up on something different and stuff. But also, like, there's just decades. Me and Zach talk about it before. The EvaGeeks forums have threads dating back to like 2008 still that you can go to and read to this very day, and people are still breaking this stuff down, and it's really the best way to kind of take this stuff in. Reading a wiki really is only going to give you a really poorly described base level of...
Yeah, because I think there was some stuff like after I finished that I was like, I don't know if I really understood that, like, what exactly happened during the second impact and stuff like that. And I think I was reading it, I was like, I kind of remember all this, but I'm also just sort of like, okay.
Yeah, like it does the thing that the Bible did, where it is a very consolidated idea, where it's like all the cool Kabbalah weird shit I'm talking about now was in the Bible, then it got stripped out because it was too confusing, right? So like that's what Ava is. It on the base level you can describe it, but if you dig in, there's just like so many threads. Like I legitimately have worked on this for maybe 20 hours total. Like, and it's all just pure research. And yeah, like it's crazy. This thing here, I found it in an EvaGeeks post maybe from like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And it made me go, huh? And then I Googled some more and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Same with, so the other thing is characters within the show are also like representations of characters from the Bible a lot too. Like Misato, she's literally put into a basket and pushed down the river. She's like
I never thought of that.
Yeah. She's Moses. Like she leads the chosen ones to where they need to be. Like
that's a religious story. I know. I watched the Rugrats Passover special.
But like that is a very intentional thing that the show uses, and people are still like, you know what? I don't think it's that important. Like, are you sure? Because she is literally Moses leading the chosen ones into wherever, and she also knows that she can't make it into heaven. Like she knows that, and that's also the thing that Moses did. Moses led these people for 40 years, and he knew he wasn't going to make it to the promised land. And it's the same thing with Misato. But I had that moment, Tyler, watching this. There was that Misato episode, and I was like, this is like Moses. That's weird. And then I Googled it, and I was just like, wait a fucking minute, dude. Like,
that's something that maybe I would think about on like a rewatch, maybe in like just like a second or third rewatch of just like, oh yeah, you know what? Like this is kind of like, especially if like something lined up like, oh, I just happened to watch Prince of Egypt before this episode or something to really seal it in.
Yeah, no,
well,
that's...
To be fair, that is sort of what kind of happened, because I dropped my bombshell on Zach very early on, which made him look at Misato in a very a different light. And
so I was watching her with the sharp eye, and then that happened. I was like, I can't be the only one who's thought of this, and I'm not. There's a whole EvaGeeks thread about it. I was like, wait a minute. And these people back in 2004 were like, isn't it interesting that, Moses? I was like, wait a fucking minute, dude.
It's nuts.
Anyways, the Dead Sea Scrolls. These things are real, by the way.
Yeah, okay, because that was another thing where I was like, okay, I've heard of Dead Sea Scrolls before. I couldn't even remember if they were real or not. And I'm just like, okay, like what exactly are we doing with these? There's a lot of stuff where it was like I feel like other anime or like even other like just shows in general might have like an exposition dump at some
Uh-huh.
point to explain some stuff, and Eva never gets
Nope.
there, and I'm just sort of like I understand the beat for beat,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm
Mhm.
definitely not getting the stuff that I would have gotten from an exposition dump sort of moment
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
like
Eva's
doing some more research and
yeah.
stuff.
Eva saves their exposition dumps for escalators and elevators,
Mhm.
and those don't go on long enough to really delve into the Dead Sea Scrolls.
So like, yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the DSS as it's referred to in the wiki page.
Yeah.
It's in the narrow sense, it's identical to these cave scrolls that were found in like 1956. They were discovered over a period of 10 years at the Qumran caves and the Ain Feshka caves in the west bank of Israel on the northern shore of the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right by
it's like
Jericho.
it's like yeah, it's like you know how the South Pole in Ava has no ice; it's just all salt.
Yeah.
Oh
Tyler,
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, uh, but yeah, it's all salt. It's like in the old Bible, there's a story about people who saw the eyes of God, and they got turned to salt. Anyway, so dating from the third century BCE to the first century BCE of first century CE, the Dead Sea Scrolls include the oldest surviving manuscripts and entire books later included in various Jewish and Christian biblical canon, including the Deuterocanonical manuscripts from the Second Temple, as well as extra biblical books. So, like Deuteronomy is one of the things that was from here. As such, they cast a new light on Judaism and Christianity. And their relationship with Jewish religious traditions in the wider sense, the Dead Sea Scrolls also include similar findings from elsewhere in the Judean desert and are sometimes called Judean Desert Scrolls. Some of the scrolls found outside Qumran are from later centuries. Almost all the 15,000 scrolls, by the way, and scroll fragments, by the way, are held right now in a museum in Jerusalem. So they're these kind of like the decoding of the Bible in a weird way that people hold into this high regard, and Ava uses it as this like this blueprint to
Yeah.
what the world was and what it is. So the blueprint for a global catastrophe. So they're discovered by Saleh in Israel around 1947. The scrolls contain detailed predictions of the future. They accurately foretold the locations, timing, and biological nature of all 17 angels, as well as the exact day of the second impact. It's also a political and financial leverage tool. So Saleh uses it to convince world governments to fund the construction of Tokyo 3, the creation of Nerve, and the incredibly expensive Evangelion units. By proving they could predict the apocalypse, Saleh effectively sees absolute behind the scenes control of humanity's remaining resources. And it's also a instruction manual for godhood. The scrolls lay out the exact methodology required to merge Adam and Lilith, collapse human AT fields, and force human evolution. Um, it's a really interesting twist on our real world analog.
Yeah.
It's because, like, in a world where Adam and Lilith are those things, their vision of it would make sense, right? And like our version of it is like our God that we have now or whatever. It's one of the things that I think people could point to and be like, this doesn't have any actual meaning because it kind of doesn't, but it's still very interesting to know the direct ties to our world.
Yeah.
But then we got the boys, Sele.
The boys.
Um, in German, this says, above the starry firmament, God judges as we judge. Seven eyes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is seen as a symbol of divine omniscience within the Old Testament. It's a watchfulness and a complete sevenfold Holy Spirit, essentially. So in Zechariah 4:10, it says, seven eyes of the Lord. And then Revelation 5:6, John sees a lamb with seven eyes and seven horns. But Sele's core ideology is a direct translation of Gnostic mysticism into a science fiction framework. So Gnosticism posits that the material universe was not created by the true God, but by a flawed lesser entity. As a result, the physical world is inherently corrupt, and human souls are sparks of the divine tragically trapped inside imperfect, decaying physical bodies. Salvation is achieved through gnosis, which is a secret divine technology which allows the soul to escape the physical realm. Sele's viewpoint is just kind of it permeates over the whole show of how these people view humans, and we hear Gendo and Fuyutsuki kind of talking about like they have different ideas. Like Gendo's like humans are nasty, like why are we the way that we are? And then the other guy, Fuyutsuki, is like humans are beautiful, like we have sin, like that's what makes us different and cool. And Gendo's like, no, humans suck. So Sele and Nerve, I think, is not really representative of Gendo. It's more representative of Yui. Gendo is more of a Sele, like a CEO that worked at Amazon that goes to work at Microsoft type of thing. Like he's just there to do his thing. So the reflection, Sele views the human body and individual identity as a biological prison. They believe humanity, as the children of Lilith, reached a spiritual dead end. And they view the Human Instrumentality Project as their version of the Gnostic salvation, using the secret knowledge of the secret Dead Sea Scrolls to orchestrate an artificial apocalypse to destroy the physical world and return human souls to a singular divine collective consciousness. It's very interesting. Digging into these ideas here, because JJ and I would always talk about like what is Sele's like real plan, what is Gendo's real plan. Here I think is the best answer we have is they just do not like people, and they specifically do not like people under them that they view lesser than. And they're trying to escape the human form because they view it as ugly and nasty, and they want to become something bigger than themselves, which ironically is how tech companies are operating these days. It's interesting how we have fallen into this thing with AI. Like, like humans are stupid and we're dumb, so we're going to give it all to these robots. Like, okay.
That could never happen today.
No,
I do want to say, we go back to the seven eyes on the thing, and you have to remember that seven appears in the Bible a lot. Mm-hmm. Seven is like
it's the holy number.
It's the sign of like
God.
God. It's completion. Because that's the whole God worked for 6 days, and on the seventh day, he rested.
Yeah. There's also
seven churches, seven trumpets. They marched around Jericho 7 times. Seven is.
There's the 7 deadly sins.
Seven.
Yeah.
That's my favorite anime. But so, also it's like I think it's like divine. I forget. It's like about shapes, like people viewing shapes through a divine eye.
7 is seen as sort of like the perfect sweet spot kind of thing. It's like the human brain sort of like 7 is kind of a default in a lot of ways. It's a prime number. It's like it's like the it's 7 is the triangle of
7's a good number. I mean,
7 is a good number.
We've built we've built the backbone of side questing around being 7.
Well, and the other thing, like I mentioned it in an episode that we filmed earlier, but triangles are like a divine shape. So yeah, it
I
seen
really
as
like
the shape of the gods.
I really like the way the apple and the snake really work in this. They did a
Mhm.
good job
Yeah, I
on
was gonna
that
say
design.
the
Just
apple and
so
the snake
much.
are the more overt, like
Yeah,
physical
Yeah.
symbols that even I get. Like,
Yeah.
That really is just set dressing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 It's like,
Although you did
hey,
point
you
out
know the Bible? There it is.
you did point out the eye thing with something else at one point in the DMs that I thought was fascinating. I don't know.
Here,
Yeah.
Nerve. We'll talk about Nerve. So this is like,
Boy, I love when you switch to that screen, your face went like evil red. Like you are
right. That's great.
this is
If I turn off all my lights, how red will I get? Because I've got my other monitor on too.
I have a very
Oh, come on.
interesting take on this one. So, first of all, the leaf is a fig leaf, which in a biblical context, Adam and Eve, they had fig leaves as clothes. So it's the so it's that. But here is, I guess I'll read that part because I have it separated. So the half leaf symbolism, it's the central image of the logo is a stylized single half of a fig leaf. In biblical iconography, the fig leaf is the very first garment worn by Adam and Eve after they ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, which, as we know, the people who are in power in this show, they view original sin as the most heinous thing that man has ever done. It's the thing that's damned us to being what we are now. So by choosing only a half a leaf, Nerve symbolizes that humanity is currently incomplete. We have the fruit of wisdom, science, and intellect, but we are still missing the other half, the fruit of life, the immortality. We're doomed to die. And the Avas are built to steal that from the divine presence, right? But here's, JJ, here's this cool thing here. I found this and I think is really awesome. So, a mask of corporate legitimacy. Visually, the logo is clean, sharp, and highly bureaucratic. It is stamped on everything from massive warships and giant biomechanical gods down to coffee mugs, identity cards, and emergency exit signs. This is a calculated overuse that Nerve uses to make this divine thing look mundane and accepted inside of a rational UN agency. Is hiding the fact that it's a sacrificial altar designed to orchestrate an artificial apocalypse. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But it is really, it's like,
That's interesting. Also, for some reason, I just can't get the image out of my head of like Gendo sitting at his desk, like sketching this logo out.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Writing
out the blurb at the bottom, like, yes.
So,
I mean, like, finish what you were gonna say first before I.
The motto at the bottom.
Yeah.
God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Tyler, I want you to think back. We said they had no Google. They couldn't Google. This is a direct quote from an 1851 poem called Pippa Passes. What?
I love that name.
It's about a girl who like walks around town.
All's right with the world. Robert.
Siri was very
that was crazy. But it's like it's a poem about this like girl who walks around town and like examines people going about their regular life, and she's really outspoken and not scared to like share her opinions, so she's viewed as lesser than because she's not womanly enough, which is like kind of a crazy use of this quote because it applies to so much within like the meta use of it applies to so much with it's crazy. So this is a line from a deeply iconic and chillingly literal thing. So Gendo and his scientists do not mean this as a declaration of faith. They mean that God is locked away, distant, and trapped in heaven. It's leaving humanity entirely free to usurp the throne. of creation and rewrite the laws of nature without divine interference. Yeah, so Pippa Passes caused controversy when it was published due to the matter-of-fact portrayals of a more disreputable character, notably the adulterous women within the piece, and its frankness on sexual matters. I was completely blown away by that. It was like an 1851 dramatic poem called Pippa Passes. It's
Yeah.
the only thing I've found it's referencing before is
And Green of Gables.
and Green Gables, which is like they made an anime adaptation, but it came out after this, so they couldn't have gotten it from
That was
that.
like a few years ago, wasn't it? Because I think I remember seeing that, and be like, "Oh wow, an Anne of Green Gables anime. That's weird."
Well, and Zach said it when we were talking about this in our DMs, where it's just like if it's a reference to that, that's somehow crazier.
Yeah, it's like there's so much stuff that I found when I was just like in the K-hole of like Googling shit the past 3 days. I was just like,
wait, there was a 1979 anime. I thought there was a newer one for Anne of Green
so
Gables.
it could be from that, which is like I just said, still crazy.
Yeah, they did a 2025 one. There was one in 79 though. So yeah, maybe that was something.
It's crazy. But yeah, then we got the boy Adam. Whoa. In Kabbalah, before creation began, all that existed was God's infinite light. The first stage of creation began when God contracted his infinite light to create the vacuum. Then a ray of divine light penetrated the vacuum, and the person of Adam was projected into it. The first stage of Adam was in the form of 10 concentric circles, which emanated from the ray. The ray of light was then enclosed by the anthropomorphic form of Adam, which is a realm of infinite divine light without vessels, constrained by its potential to create future existence. Philosophically, Adam is traditionally described as a supernal androgynous being that existed before humanity was split into male and female. This is further explained in End of Evangelion, but use this context when it pops up because it's kind of crazy. Then we have Lilith, who is not mentioned in the Bible. She was taken out of the Bible because she was too controversial. So she is said to have fled from the Garden of Eden because she did not want to submit to Adam. She first appears in the Dead Sea Scrolls and afterwards in Mandean and Jewish sources from late antiquity, 300 AD onward. She's incorporated in short mystic stories, so they give partial description of her within those. She is mentioned in the Babylonian Talmud and the Shabbat, which are like the old original Jewish text, and in Zohar, but she's also mentioned in Leviticus as a demon, which is just kind of like random because the context of her is taken out of the entire Bible. She's also further explained in End of Evangelion. She is
also
the
persona, which is where I had first heard the
also
name.
a
It's one of those where
persona.
it's like, where it's one of those series that references a bunch of different mythologies. Like you'll hear names like that. I'm like, wait, Lilith, and I'm like, okay, yes, yep.
Yeah, it's interesting how within the Dead Sea Scrolls she's seen as this like betrayer because she didn't want to be with Adam and like make children and be this like house maker. But then in Christian lore, she's made out to be like a demon. It's really interesting. And also, once you know the End of Evangelion stuff with Adam and Lilith, it's like, okay, there's a fun moment there. And then we have Lilin. This is kind of a spoiler. I just had to use it. So these are also further explained in Evangelion, but within the traditional text, these are giant human figures, tall of stature, who were born of Adam in the 130 years during which he begot demons, spirits, and Lilin. Lilith used to come to him against his will and conceive him and conceive from Adam, and she bore these beings. And they are always sad and full of sorrow and sighs. There's no joy among them, and these hosts can multiply and ascend from the earth to this world upon which we stand. And here they become harmful spirits, and then they return back to whatever realm they're from. Um, yeah. So use the context of End of Evangelion combined with the last two, and you get something cool. Then we have Freud. So this guy,
This fucking guy.
this fucking guy,
This guy.
He,
This guy.
I think his philosophy might be the most prominent one in the entire series. It's the most like overt one. Him and Kierkegaard, I feel like, are the two. But fun tidbits within the OST. There are song titles that directly reference this man. So we have Thanatos, which is the death drive in Freudian philosophy. The death drive is not only expressed through instinctive aggression, such as hunting for nourishment, but also through pathological behavior, such as repetition, compulsion, and self-destructiveness. Asuka is driven by this entirely. And that's one of the songs in there. Then we have Oral Stage, which is another song on the OST. Oral stage, it denotes the first psychosexual development stage, wherein the mouth of the infant and their primary erogenous zone are met with their mother's other zones. That's the title of the song within our amazing show, End of Evangelion.
For children.
For children. And then there's one called Separation Anxiety, kind of basic, but it's an anxiety disorder in which an individual experiences excessive anxiety regarding separation from home and or from people.
It's also a Spider-Man game.
Yeah. And then Mother is the First Other. One of the most prominent songs within the whole show. Once you look this up and listen to the song, you're like, yeah, I've heard this a billion times. So in philosophy, the other is a fundamental concept referring to anyone or anything perceived as distinct or different from oneself. This distinction is crucial for understanding how individuals construct their own identities, as the encounter with otherness helps them define the boundaries of the self. It's a component to Freud's theory, which is why he thinks, since Mother is the first other, it's the first person you fall in love with, because it's the first person you see as a distinct person from yourself. So Freud,
yeah, you're right. I've heard this a million times, and also this is very good to play over you talking about this.
Sigmund Freud is the foundational psychological architect of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Rather than just referencing his ideas as intellectual flavor, and it'll structure the entire series around Freud's psychoanalytic theories on trauma development and the human drive towards self-destruction. The series acts as a grand canvas illustrating the internal subconscious architecture of the human mind. How Freud's theories are used in the series. The mother's womb as a weapon. The Evangelion cockpits, entry plugs, are literal, functional, mechanical wombs. They are flooded with warm, orange, amniotic fluid, LCL, and contain the souls of the pilot's deceased mothers. Oh no. For a pilot to achieve high synchronization rate, they must mentally regress to a state of fetal dependence, submitting to the maternal entity that wields its power. The Oedipal nightmare. Shinji Ikari is a textbook exploration of the Oedipus complex. He harbors an intense subconscious resentment towards his distant authoritarian father, Gendo. Concurrently, his deepest emotional connections are with Rei, a literal genetic clone of his mother, and Misato, a maternal caretaker who repeatedly blurs the line into sexual intimacy. Shinji is trapped in a distressing psychological web where maternal comfort, sexual desire, and paternal hatred are completely entangled. And then Thanatos, to kind of touch on that more, the ultimate cosmic conflict of the series. The third impact is a literal battle between Freud's two opposing universal drives. In his later work, Beyond the Pleasure Principle, Freud proposed that humans are not just driven by the urge to survive and make more children, we also possess an innate subconscious desire to return to the absolute, tensionless peace of inanimate matter, a drive towards self destruction and non existence. Thanatos. Um, Sele, Gendo, yeah. Then Schopenhauer, our boy with the Hedgehog's Dilemma. Um, Schopenhauer introduced the hedgehog analogy in his 1851 work, Peruga and Paralipomena. Don't know. I tried to explain the baseline misery of human society. So the philosophy here, broken down. Schopenhauer believed that human beings are driven by a blind, irrational cosmic force called the will to life. Will, important, which forces us to desire companionship and satisfaction. However, because our individual egos are inherently selfish and flawed, our social interactions naturally breed malice, boredom, and mutual harm. He argued that the most intelligent individuals eventually choose a lifestyle of polite, distant isolation to protect themselves from the painful friction of society. So we have Gendo, Ikari, and Sele share Schopenhauer's ultimate conclusion. They look at the hedgehog's dilemma and decide that human individuality is a fundamental design flaw. The human instrumentality project is a radical, violent solution. If you dissolve all individual physical forms into LCL fluid, you remove the other quills entirely. By erasing the boundaries between self and other, they eliminate the capacity for mutual harm, achieving the ultimate tensionless warmth that Schopenhauer hedgehogs could never find in the real world. Conflict of the Ava pilots. The entire pilot dynamic is a clash of hedgehogs, not Sonic, sorry, but Shinji withdraws to avoid pain. Asuka Langley aggressively attacks others with her own quills to keep them from discovering her inner weakness. And Rei acts as a hollow wall, lacking the initial warmth to even try to connect in the first place. Boom.
I do want to go back to that picture of the. I like that one in the back is very suspicious of the one in the front.
Yeah,
that's
a good picture of a couple of hedgehogs.
Yeah,
right there.
that is a good hedgehog's dilemma going on. Right
that's a good way to show off the whole thing. Kierkegaard, the sickness
penguin version of sickness unto death.
Kierkegaard is the guy that Yoko Taro uses a lot.
I was going to say that's Drakengard. I've played that on the
PlayStation.
So Kierkegaard's my favorite. So there are three kinds of despair presented in the book. One of them relates to being unconscious of having a self, another to not wanting to be oneself, and the third to feeling that one is not oneself. He describes the first kind as inauthentic despair because it's born of ignorance. Episode 16 is all about this. It's the entire book broken down into a 23-minute episode.
Episode of a boy arguing with himself in a robot.
The boy arguing with himself within a robot, and they didn't have Google either. And Anno has explicitly said, "I only read the first page of this book, and I thought it was cool." Which is clearly not true.
Yeah, it's so full of shit. It's so funny.
No, Tyler. So someone interviewed him, and they're like, "Yo, this Kierkegaard guy," and he's like, "Yeah, I read the first page. It was cool." Which is like, come on. He does that a lot. This is what a lot of people do when they try to dismiss stuff with, like, in the show. They say, "Well, Anno and blah 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 said it's not a thing," which is like, he's just trying to not look as cool as he actually is. He wants to do what Shinji does, where he recedes away, or he wants to act nonchalant about it, like, yeah, whatever. But he acts really coy, which is really annoying, but I think is awesome in the same breath. So the philosophy here, Kierkegaard argued that anxiety is fundamentally different from fear. Fear is a reaction to specific real-world danger. It's like an incoming angel attack. Anxiety, however, is a deeper psychological dread that happens when humans realize they possess absolute free will. He famously described anxiety as the dizziness of freedom, the terrifying moment you stand on the edge of a cliff and realize you have the power to either step back or jump off. Shinji is rarely terrified of the angels themselves. He is more so scared by the anxiety of what to do next, of jumping off that cliff or stepping back. He is terrified by that single choice. He hates having to make a decision. When sitting in the entry plug, the universe forces him to make choices that carry the weight of life and death. His signature line, "I mustn't run away," is a desperate attempt to steady himself against the exact dizziness of freedom. He wraps himself in a blanket of forced compliance because facing his own raw, unmapped freedom is too intense to bear. And then in his other works, Kierkegaard, he has this book called Either/Or. Kierkegaard outlined 3 distinct stages or worldviews an individual can adopt. They use this to escape existential despair. So the core cast acts as a living map of this physical progression. We have the aesthetic stage, Asuka and Kaji. This stage is defined by an obsession with personal freedom, external validation, immediate pleasure, or intellectual pursuits to keep boredom and despair at bay. Asuka lives purely in this stage. Her entire identity relies on her status, her beauty, her performance scores, and her superiority. When her pilot scores drop, her aesthetic shield shatters, plunging her into catastrophic despair. The ethical stage, the nerve bureaucracy. Here, a person tries to find meaning by surrendering their identity to a larger collective system, taking on societal duties, rules, and corporate structures. This is where Shinji hides for most of the show. He pilots in the Eva not out of a personal desire to save the world, but because everyone expects me to. He trades his authentic self for the safety of a structured role, realizing too late that a hollow devotion to Nerve's duty will never cure his internal loneliness. Then we have the religious stage, Kawaru Nagisa. This is Kierkegaard's highest plane of existence. It requires an individual to abandon both the distractions of the aesthetic and the rigid rules of the ethical to form a more authentic, direct connection with existence, fully embracing the paradoxes and absolute vulnerabilities of life. So Kawaru also acts as the ultimate catalyst for Shinji's transition into Kierkegaard's final religious stage that he defines. So in Fear and Trembling, Kierkegaard argued that because human logic can never fully decode a chaotic universe, finding meaning or true love requires a leap of faith. You must choose to believe, to care, and to leap into the unknown without any logical guarantees or safety nets. Kawaru offers Shinji an absolute unconditional love that makes no sense within Nerve's cold transactional world. Kawaru does not demand that Shinji earns his love. He simply hands it over to him. This act breaks the more deterministic, cynical script of the series and the entire structure of the show. When Shinji chooses to return to the physical world at the end of Evangelion, we will see what happens then. But it's really crazy. This one is a dizzying realization here. And then Chambers of Goof. This gets mentioned randomly in episode 23, I think.
Yeah.
But in the rebuilds,
Kairu.
in the rebuilds is more prominent, but it's just dropped randomly by Ritsuko.
Yeah, this was one of those things that I think like they just kept saying. That I was just like, okay, sure, I think I get what you're saying in the confines of the show as a reference to something I'm not getting right now.
You're about to see it, buddy. So this isn't a picture of the Chambers of Goof, but it's been mentioned in the series, and I don't want to spoil the reveal. So there's the Chambers of Goof. The Chambers of Goof is borrowed directly from Jewish mystical tradition, where it represents the treasury of souls located in heaven. So everyone that's born, their soul comes from the Chambers of Goof, essentially. So the concept, according to the Kabbalah, every human soul is a fragment cycling out of a single cosmic world soul known as Adam. In a more traditional lore, it states that the Messiah will not appear until the chamber of goof has been completely emptied of unborn souls.
Here's my goof.
In the series, Ritsuko drops a chilling revelation. The chambers of goof have been emptied. She says this randomly. And if you know the actual implication of that, it's like, okay, so
Yeah, given what you just said, that sounds bad.
yeah, it's like, so the third impact is about to happen is kind of what she's like is saying.
Yeah.
This explains why the soulless Rei clone bodies are mere hollow vessels. There are no new souls left to give. You can also remember in Evangelion, they mentioned there are no children being born anymore. They mention this within the show. Things aren't being born. Life isn't returning. There are no more souls left to give to this planet. So, yeah. And then in the third impact,
Yeah.
we get to see that.
Boy, does the rebuilds really lean into the Chamber of Goof stuff.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's once you understand the reference, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, the entry plug, LCL, it's a physical experience of sitting inside of an entry plug with warm breathing fluid is a direct, tangible manifestation of Freud's womb regression theory. We touched on this. LCL gives physical life to the philosophical idea of Thales of Miletus, the first recorded Western philosopher. Thales proposed that the primary substance of the entire universe was water. He argued that all things came from moisture and are sustained by moisture and ultimately return to moisture. Evangelion transforms that theory into a sci-fi reality. Humanity is presented not as divine creations made of clay, but as highly organized, individualized puddles of animated sea water. LCL is the biological arch of the Eva universe. It is a tangible reminder that human civilization, with all its grand philosophies and egos, is just a temporary phase of a single fluid substance.
Yeah.
And then misogyny. I just use this. I found this fan art on Reddit. It's really cool. So the series is a textbook exploration of, you guessed it, Sigmund Freud. It's the concept of the Madonna whore complex. This psychological anxiety causes men to split women into two rigid artificial categories. So you have the pure, nurturing, saintly mother, the Madonna, and the sexually desired but degraded object, the whore. Men suffering from this split cannot fuse love and sexual desire into a single relationship. So Gendo Ikari, he's entirely frozen by this thing. He worships his dead wife Yui as a flawless divine savior. Because he cannot cope with her absence, he creates Rei. He literally fashions her from Yui's genetic material. He treats Rei with bizarre, sterile, maternal reverence while completely ignoring her humanity. And then on the opposite side, Gendo engages in a cold, purely transactional sexual affair with Ritsuko and previously her mother. He uses Ritsuko for scientific labor and sexual gratification, but feels absolute content for her emotional needs. He treats her as the whore archetype, discarding her the moment her utility runs out, demonstrating a complete inability to see either woman as a complex whole being. And also, Misato is in there as well. Male aggression and the desire to dominate women are exposed as pathetic cover-ups for a terror of intimacy and emotional weakness. The institutional structure of nerve itself functions as a patriarchal system that objectifies and instrumentalizes the female body. The weaponization of the womb. The Evangelions are fueled by the souls of dead mothers, and the entry plugs mimic mechanical wombs flooded with amniotic fluid. The male leadership, Gendo Ikari and Seele system they systematically institutionalize the sacred maternal connection, transforming it into a weapon and not the actual thing that it is, which is the beautiful creation of life. The
Oh, and how do
ray,
you and how do you activate it by putting a phallic object shoved right
yeah,
up in there?
Yeah.
the Ray Aquarium, the horrific discovery of the dummy plug room reveals dozens of soulless Ray clones floating in a tank. Ritsuko, and then Ritsuko calls them mere parts and vessels. The visual, manufactured, identical female bodies waiting to be used, discarded, and replaced is the ultimate sci-fi metaphor for the complete dehumanization and objectification of women under Gendo's regime. Um, and then human instrumentality, intentionally blank. I'm not going to show it. So, from a Sartrean existential viewpoint, instrumentality is an act of bad faith. The choice to surrender free will to escape the terrifying burden of being human. He stated that humans are condemned to be free. We must constantly make choices, face the consequences, and endure the anxiety of defining our own meaning in a chaotic universe. In the collective consciousness, choice disappears. There's no responsibility, no future to plan, and no other to judge you. Shinji's ultimate rejection of instrumentality is a pure Sartrean triumph. He chooses to return to the real world, fully accepting that he will be hurt again because he realizes that experiencing pain is a necessary requirement for authentic freedom. Fellas, thus ends my thesis, I guess.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how much of that stuff, like Freud and all of that, just appear in episode 26 alone? Just like
Like that was the kind of breakdown that I think I needed, because it's a lot of stuff of like, I understand what this is doing in terms of like driving the plot forward, or like, informing like these characters, but it was definitely a lot of like, I don't know the background behind this stuff. I don't know what a goof is. I don't know what we're doing with the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's just some weird thing we're using to predict the future, I guess. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
so like, this is the kind of breakdown where I'm like, okay, I see what they're pulling from. It's more than just angels blowing up into crosses.
Yeah, no, it's really dizzying to kind of dig into any of this, because it's like with a lot of stuff, when you do research, like you can just find that people are making assumptions based off of like how they think something might be referencing something. But like within Ava, it's very pointed and intense. It's like it's so on the nose once you see the whole picture. It's like so hard to take it away. It's like there's an interview in one of the manga volumes with one of the animators, and he talks about how anime as a whole is like having a meal, but only examining the table like where, like, oh, that's a nice plate, that's a cool knife. But Ava is the food on the plate. It's something that you eat, you consume, and you think about. And it's very it is placed on the plate in an intentional way to feed you, which is really cool that the people down to the animators were thinking about this show and its concepts and what they wanted to execute that deeply, which is kind of cool. Like you rarely have teams that execute any piece of art on this level. And it's like, it's akin to like a painting or like the best book ever or whatever. Like it's something like that you can actually examine and consume and think about, and it can inform your life. It can be used to make you better. It can be used to inform your view of the world. It's a true like piece of human art, which is so rare within anime especially, but within like pop culture in general.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like even some of the most philosophical works in I'm gonna break it down to film mostly. Even in that case, you don't see that very often. It doesn't play out that way. It usually has a concept that they'll lean into, but it doesn't flow through the veins of the entire thing. But there's no accidents in Evangelion. We have learned there are, I think let's kind of talk about the show a little bit here, other than conceptually. But like, if you go all the way back to episode 1, right? Like, it starts with the theme, obviously. I mean, the theme already is Cruel Angel's Thesis, and you can
Yeah.
read those lyrics, and the lyrics are very pointed.
That's one thing that I think is probably lost unless it's like you're watching some version of the show that translates the lyrics,
Yeah.
or you're actually reading the lyric, from an English perspective, because
Yeah.
obviously the Japanese audience can just hear it and understand it, but
Yeah.
like we need it translated and subtitled, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And during that, you're already seeing the tree of life.
You're seeing
Like,
everything.
you're seeing
Yeah.
everything in that opening, and we're supposed to believe that everything that comes after a certain point is just like a course correction kind of thing, like it wasn't planned this way. Things were changed, like, obviously this
Yeah.
was show created on a week-to-week basis, but obviously conceptually it was one very specific thing that he knew where it was going to lead, because you are introduced to a character that has some weight behind her before Shinji. Like, you see Rei. Like, Rei is
Yeah.
there. Shinji has no idea who that is. She's there and then she's gone. And conceptually, that it doesn't really get an answer until you're at the end of the series. But it's not the only time Rei just appears in the series and is gone. She's there all the time. And I think Misato giving Shinji the photo, but she knows what's going on. We've established it. Zach and I talk about it all the time. Misato is one of, there's like only a couple of characters in the show that realize they're in a TV show, for the most part. But Misato is aware of what's going on, and she needs and the whole Moses thing. She has to lead Shinji to episode 16, essentially. Every decision she makes has to lead Shinji to episode 16, where his story actually starts. And playing into his libido, tricking it, getting him. He has to make the first step on his own. But she's nudging him along the way.
Sends him a sex. She invites him to come with a postcard of herself, and she's like showing her boobies off, and it's like, okay.
And then it's just, and then shows up to save him immediately as the angel is starting to attack, and needs to get to the robot.
And Shinji's just like dropped in the middle of nowhere. Like, he just spawns at a phone booth.
Yeah.
And she knows exactly where he's at.
Yeah, it's not like he's in front of the train station. That becomes kind of a prevalent theme.
Yeah, that's not something that I thought of, but he is just sort of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Main character in spawn point in Tokyo 3, and you'll see this stuff play out constantly throughout the series to like a baffling degree, where it's especially in context of the show that we're watching right now, there are some concepts with this that won't even get explained until we're like 2 or 3 rebuilds in.
Mm-hmm.
But to connect directly, like, there's no way this works without this, and if they didn't set this up, well, that doesn't work, and these are decades apart at this point. So,
and like another big thing is her inviting Shinji to live with her, because Shinji has an apartment given to him by Nerve, and she calls Ritsuko, is like, yo, I'm letting Shinji move in with me, and she's like, what the fuck? Are you gonna are you gonna try and make a move on him? And she's like, no. But like, it's so out of pocket and random, but she knows that she has to get him in there so she can nurture him, because if Shinji goes into his own apartment, he's going to be by himself. He's not going to want to get into the Ava. He's not going to want to engage with people. She has to force him out. and is another thing where she just knows it's going to fucking work.
Yeah.
Same with in the episode where she goes to like she goes to see that presentation about the other robots being made.
Yeah.
And she goes in there, but from the start of the episode, she's very nervous and scared. She has nothing to do with the presentation at all. She knows she has to get into that thing and that she could die. She probably has died before and she's aware of that. And then she also doesn't even know the codes either, and she knows it's not going good. She
Yeah.
knows that the code that she gets isn't going to work. It's crazy. She keeps doing these things that are so out of left field, but it needs to happen for us to get to the point where the series actually lifts off in episode 16.
Yeah.
And then there's that moment where they're fighting an angel and the Magi runs some systemic thing. It's like you have a 0.1% to survive. And Ritsuko's like, why are you sending them in there? And she said, only God knows. And it's like, come on. Like,
and that's why, and it's easy way to explain. There are times where even she's surprised at the outcome of certain things because the butterfly effect. Things are she's getting. It's live, die, repeat. All you need is kill. Everything gets a little better each time. You have, but it's it's crazy. It's crazy. Misato's character in it. If you look at her from the perspective of her being the main character who's fully aware of everything.
Yeah,
that's
I had
going
not
on around
heard
her.
of that before, so I'm very interested in like kind of the lore behind that, because that stuff is interesting to me for sure.
well, she's the only character in the show you hear her thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So like in the first episode, she does an aside talking to you.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
hey, like this is fucking weird. It's
Yeah,
like,
she's
okay.
constant. Every episode, she talks to you at the very end, again, pushing you towards the next episode because you have to be here along with it. You're you're the Lilum. You got to be here, my friends.
And then Rebuild 3
Yeah.
it's pretty much explained.
Yeah.
And then it's not something I ever realized until JJ brought it up, and it really just like changed everything.
Yeah, when you watch the show with those eyes, it's kind of like
yeah, there's so many times where we did this show and we talked about the episodes just like on a plain level.
Yeah.
And then after the episodes, JJ and I, like we would be like, "Holy shit, dude!"
Yeah.
Like I can't believe like it's
the
nuts.
Moses thing in particular when she gets placed into the what's effectively a basket. It changes the scope of everything.
That was an OG original.
That
right
was
here.
an
I
OG
feel
original Zach.
I was like, oh man. Then it's one of those things where you're like, they had to have known. They're clearly referencing something here. Like it's the show's so deep. There's so much within it, man. It's mind-boggling. I just think about it all day. I'm just sitting there, staring at the ceiling.
It's kind of amazing what this show, when I say show, I mean this thing that we're doing right here, right now, not conceptually Evangelion to the show, but like this watch through. It's amazing what it's done for me right now. It's given me something to like chew on in a way that I haven't chewed on something in a while. It really reawakened a part of me that has not been around for a hot minute. So
for me, it's definitely kind of like I'm glad that I've gotten like the first go around like over with, because I mean, like, I know I'll probably rewatch this show again. It's sort of like there's always stuff going around like, oh, what would you wipe your memory and so you could replay a video game or something like that. It's like my answer is always like, I don't want to wipe my memory because I get more enjoyment out of those games the second time around, the third time around,
especially when it has something to say,
especially like, I mean, I love Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't want to wipe my memory and go back and play it again with no memory. That would be awful. I would get lost in Wonderland like constantly.
Yep.
But like so I'm past that first part now. I'm probably going to rewatch this again. If I had to guess, because I know Yoko Taro is supposed to be doing like a new Evangelion
Yep.
thing. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly what that's supposed to be. I love Nier. I love both of those, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like I'll rewatch this series whenever that has a date and like try to line it up to where it's like I can be caught up by the time that's airing. So like
Yeah.
yeah, like and then once I'm through that second time around, I'm gonna see more than I did this time, especially talking to you guys
After
on this and
this.
then rewatching the others, watching the rest of your episodes on this because like yes, boys, tell me everything that I definitely missed the first time
Yeah.
around.
It's
Um,
dude, so the fact that you're a fan of like Nier is like once you like hook into Ava and how Anno thinks, you directly realize that Yoko Taro is just the biggest fanboy of Ava and Anno, and like he's been pretty vocal about that. He said like everything in my life is due to him. Like, and thinking about Nier in this show, there's so many cross points, which is why JJ and I will be exploring those after this series.
Yep.
It'll be JJ's first time. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like I just love this show. It's like I said in the Discord, it's like when you are in a relationship for a long time, there are like seasons and phases within your love where you find new reasons to love the person that you're with. And like Ava's always been the de facto thing I've loved in life, but like I'm finding so much more within it each time I watch it with the different seasons of my life. And like now especially it's like this is my entire like my entire body is this show, right?
yeah,
It's so interesting to see how much of my life I've taken away from this show. Yeah, I've cried at work listening to music and be like, man, this
Yeah.
reminds me of Shinji. Like, it's like I think about these characters so deeply. It's fun for me to have this show with JJ because I can say shit like that, and JJ's like, yeah, I get it. Like yeah, I understand you crying thinking about a Fallout Boy song that relates to Shinji. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, dude, it's so crazy. Like, yeah, it's just it feels fun to be unabashedly like in love and cringe about something, like cringe for how it's used now,
Yeah.
cringe about
Yeah.
something that you genuinely just like care about.
Yeah.
And I'm really thankful for you, Tyler, because it's fun having someone who's new see it and have the inklings of things that like just show that you genuinely watched and enjoyed the show. Like
yeah,
it felt really good to hear you say the things that you said. So
yeah.
I,
It was nice watching it, and it almost made me feel self-conscious in a way because like I think we all think of ourselves as pretty highly like media literate and stuff, and like a lot of
Mhm.
things like oh that was confusing, oh that's convoluted. Like I mean I'm always just like that's not like man. Kingdom Hearts makes sense. You're just stupid. Like, but like I actually watched this and I was actually challenged. I had to think about it, and I still like I was self-conscious of like I don't know if I got that at
Yeah.
first, and I'm like, and listening to you guys, like I definitely like got most of it, the stuff
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
expected to get for sure. And there's just so many layers deep of like all these references and things that like kind of connect to each other that I'm just sort of like, yeah, it's like and the weird deep lore that people only get from rewatching the show 1,000 times and like
Yeah.
really deeply studying it. Like I don't think anybody watched it back in like '97 and was like, yeah, man, Misato's in a time loop. Like,
Yeah, no, and it takes the thing that's crazy is it takes the rebuilds for you to even realize that. So it's like it's so
yeah.
crazy how
The
planned
rebuilds
out
I
and
think were really what I
methodical
like
it
kind of
is.
was like, oh man, and I know we're not to that yet, but like that was really where I was like, oh, these are real. Like, I mean, these have really gone like off the rail in a different direction. I like the direction that they went in that, but it's different. And that was the point where I was like, oh man, this is I'm not sure if I'm chewing on all this right.
thing about the thing about Eva is that everything that sort of comes out afterwards is like the best version of a concept you could possibly ever imagine. I think that End of Evangelion is the best film for a TV show that has ever been manufactured. I think the rebuilds are the best remake in quotations that
That was
anyone's
another thing too
ever.
with the rebuilds, because I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I hear these compared to like the Final Fantasy VII remake series a lot in terms of like, oh, it's a remake, but not really, like, so I was like very excited to see those connections as
Yeah.
well. And yeah, so
Yeah. It's it's the I like this because we don't, nobody that's the thing when we talk about the media literacy and stuff, and people just don't kind of take the time to care. Like there's really interesting stuff, and like people like there's like liking Metal Gear Solid, and then like joking about how crazy it is, and it's like conceptually that's a lot of crazy stuff going in Metal Gear Solid,
yeah,
but it's nowhere near the level of confusion that anyone would sort of lead you to believe there is. Same thing with this, same thing with as I've been told, Kingdom Hearts.
yeah,
uh
exactly. Like I get that a lot of like,
yeah,
yes, I will joke about like Donald casting Zeta Flare, or
yeah,
like, oh yeah, like this stuff doesn't make, like, oh yeah, you got to play all these games, and the mobile game is canon, you dumb fuck, like.
yeah,
Like, but
but
I mean,
yeah,
like, really, it does make sense when you are like in the weeds and
yeah,
actually like paying attention,
yeah,
and this is like kind of the same thing of like, okay, there's a lot of stuff that I did not get the first time through, absolutely, but I mean, I actually had to think about it, which is more than I could say for a lot of things people call confusing. Like,
Yep.
yeah. Well, and water cooler talk has sort of just kind of boiled down to talking about what happened on this week's Prestige TV event, kind of a thing that you get to talk about in the break room for 15 minutes, and then you go after once your coffee's like done percolating, you kind of walk off from it and stuff,
yeah.
and and social media and stuff has sort of drifted back down to just being small parses of discussions. So there's a lot more negativity in discourse because it
And
is
a lot
not a
of those
great.
discussions are kind of fueled by mystery as well.
Yeah,
I was like, my peak of like television discussion, like through high school and right after high
yeah,
school, was Lost. I was very
yeah,
into Lost, discussing it constantly, like
yeah,
theorizing, like, but that was a very mystery fueled show. All the
yeah,
discussions were like, what is going on in this island, what is going on with like these characters, like, and this, like, I wouldn't say there's like a big mystery
yeah,
component to it, like, it's masquerading as like a shonen anime, like,
yeah.
action stuff that like,
Well,
but there's
and
more
like
to it than that.
movie reviews used to be pages in the newspaper, not just clips for that gets retweeted on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. And uh we used to, it's, even if you go back to sort of early internet days, it used to be message boards. Case in
Hmm.
point, Ava Geeks, where
Ava
there's a lot of
Geeks.
really good high quality discussion about Evangelion from over 20 years ago at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
we're reaching 30 years of
Yeah.
discourse of this show, and Eva Geeks dates back all the way to like 2005. Like we're talking, internet forums used to just be a very specific long form discussion situation
I
for
I
people to
miss
have.
like,
So
old like message board stuff, because I
yeah,
was very involved in like
yeah,
different message boards. And you kind of get that with Reddit now, but
yeah,
Reddit is like, it's like the shitty version of that,
yeah.
in all honesty. It's like you
Like
get the vibe, but you're
yeah.
not getting like the quality.
We
It,
get it in our own Discord. Like that's
yeah.
what's fun. Like that kind of mentality is coming back, but it's not as broad form where complete strangers can usually just kind of waltz in and have these discussions with you, like it used to be on forums and stuff, where we're like these hyper focused. Let's go to Ava Geeks. Let's go to this professional wrestling thing. Let's go to the Steven Spielberg fan group or something, where you can have these discussions about things. So when you can sit down and actually have these like media literate discussions about concepts that don't uh fall into like fall into aggressive arguments. Like you can argue about any like stuff and it can be interesting and fun and a debate
Yeah.
thing. But the whole debate me culture that is today is definitely not what people are talking about when they talk about debates. So it hurts. It hurts. And it's nice to um, be able to sit here, talk for 2.5 hours about one TV show. And we're not even like we're barely. This is like the halfway point.
Yep.
Yeah.
This isn't even the end. Like,
And it is like it almost makes me feel better of like, you know, because like I said, there was points where I was like, especially when Zach was like, yeah, I definitely want you on the show. I was like, shit, man, I don't know if I really like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, especially compared to these two that have like lived and breathed the show so much. But
Yeah.
like it, it's just kind of rare to actually like, you know, be challenged. It's like whenever you're like really good in like you're naturally good in like
yeah,
school, like in high school or something. You didn't have to try, you didn't have to like, you
yeah.
know, study or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm in a class that's hard. What's going on? What do I do? You know, like how do I handle this? It was definitely that sort of vibe. But
And it's funny. Me and Zach talked about this. It's like Anno would hate this show. That's the thing. Like he would hate what we're doing here. However, he designed everything about this intellectual property to do this. Like we are also accomplishing sort of things that he wanted to accomplish. This show is sort of forced at points in our lives, at some point or one or another. It forces either Zach or I to look at sort of our outlook on ourselves or the world around us, or how we're going through it right now. And like he's presenting concepts that help us deal with it for better or for worse. You may not take the right message from it, but you're taking a message, which is, you know, more than some people will do. Some people just brush it
yeah,
off and be like, cool. It's that meme of like the guy, oh, cool robot, as the you
Yeah.
know,
oh
like,
yeah, the Gundam meme of like,
yeah,
yeah, it's war
yeah,
story, cool robot. Which
yeah,
is funny because that's also about like big giant robots, and it
yeah.
was the other like big mecha anime that I watched before this one. Where I was like,
Yeah,
ah, I should
it's
watch
also a very
Gundam,
sad
you know?
show about child warfare. That
Yeah,
kind of,
Mhm.
but it doesn't challenge you too much about it. It's like it wears a lot of it on its sleeve, and I still like Gundam, but like it's not this.
I want to watch more Gundam stuff for sure because I stopped
Well,
at
let me
Zeta. I
tell
probably just
you,
like got burnt out, but
somebody who is very important to this show, maybe currently involved with a Gundam.
Yeah. Suramaki, the director of most of the episodes of Ava and Fooly Cooly and the new Ava series and the Rebuild movies, is directing the current Gundam series, and is also written by the guy who wrote Evangelion, the Rebuild movies, and
is that the
is it?
Gundam Gooks or whatever
Yeah,
with like the ton of U's? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
yeah,
I know there's a lot of different Gundam continuities and like you can kind of
yeah.
like start with whichever one of them. I definitely want to watch some more of the older ones because I was enjoying like the original Gundam and I really liked Zeta, the vibe of Zeta, and then
Yeah.
ZZ sort of like or Double Zeta, however you say, like veered off into like kind of more comedy vibes, and that was
Yeah.
where I was
yeah.
like, ah, I'm gonna stop for a bit.
You
But
know,
You should watch Gunbuster.
Gunbuster, yes, is good. But no, Gooks, yeah, is written by Anno,
Gooks, okay,
directed by uh his buddy.
yeah,
It's
but
Anno. It's not Anno shit, but it's Anno shit.
Yeah.
It's like it's still really good, but
Corporate
it's
approved Anno shit.
yeah, it's
there
corporate
we go.
approved Anno shit. It's he's a very big fan of Gundam. Shocker.
He
So
hates
it's
otakus, but loves.
he hates
Yeah,
otakus, but he
I was gonna say
loves Gundam.
I've heard the thing of like he hates otakus, but he is an otaku, so like he
Uh-huh.
hates himself
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean,
That is the point of Evangelion.
that's the
Yeah,
show.
Several of the characters within
Yeah,
Evangelion.
which I don't blame him. I also
Yeah.
and like I hate you nerds. I'm also a nerd. Like
but yeah,
anytime
the Gundam show.
I definitely get it because it's like anytime I see like somebody that has similar interests, so like in real life, I'm sure you guys experience this too. There's a moment where you're like, are you cool or are you going to be weird? And
Yeah.
I've definitely had some experience with like the weird ones. I'm like, oh God, I wish I'd never
And
said anything.
it's the curse you run into when it's like I am despite all outward appearances, I'm a completely normal, well-adjusted person that can hold a normal conversation with normal human beings at a normal rate. You don't know what that you're gonna get when you're in line waiting for something at PAX.
Yeah.
Some guy's gonna turn to you and see you with a Gengar or Evangelion tattoo and start a conversation with you, and your brain starts going like doing the calculations, like oh god, oh god, oh
Like
god.
at best with video games, I'll run into somebody that's only played like Fortnite and Call of Duty. I can just sort of like, yeah, I've heard of those things, man. But then at worst, it's like I think of this guy that I had a few college classes with that was like that didn't understand like how to hold a conversation about like, you know, something that I didn't know. So I was just talked at about Mortal Kombat for like an hour a day each day.
Ugh.
And this was like whenever that first Mortal Kombat movie was coming out. And I'm just like, oh boy, can you please leave me alone now?
It's like my brother, you need to practice
Yes.
talking.
And I couldn't even be mean to him because he was
Yeah.
in a wheelchair and it was like I didn't want to be like
I'd be mean to a guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's still a human. I'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
like, bro, you suck. I don't care that you're in a wheelchair.
I just got super self-conscious. Like I can't even like not be like fake nice to this guy because it's like I'm afraid of like being seen weirdly. But
He's seen as you chastising a handicapped man.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't want that on me, especially in a small community college. But I'm definitely interested in some more like Ava adjacent stuff now. I'm definitely interested in that Gundam series that everybody's involved with. I definitely do want to finish Nadia, even if like he was depressed and maybe like didn't even enjoy his time on it. I'm keeping
Yeah,
myself to like more popcorny stuff right now, like playing that Sword Art Online game. I'm like, yeah, cool. This is simple.
yeah, like Fooly Cooley. If you haven't seen it, it's probably a good one.
Yeah.
And then
6 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Tengen Toppen Gurren Lagann. That's
Lagann.
like that's Gainax's like last hurrah.
See, that's another one that I've heard of that I've been like, I've never watched that. I'm at the point in anime where I'm starting to run out of the big stuff that I've never watched before, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta start actually like thinking of what to watch next. I've still got some weird one. Like I could watch, One Piece finally
man,
or Naruto, but
Tenchi Muyo's back, baby.
But yeah, if you want like Ava adjacent, it's like Fooly Cooley or Tengen Toppen Gurren Lagann are like the two. Gurren Lagann is light. I'll say it's light. It's light compared to this. It's but it's still it has concepts and you'll think about things. So it's definitely a chewer. Same with Fooly Cooley. It's that's one that like you watch one episode and you're like, should I watch this show? Like
Yeah.
I feel dirty watching this
It's
show.
it's a crazy show because it's 6 episodes that move at a breakneck speed, and every episode is like tonally different from the last. It's like it's like every episode's its own separate genre, and the story is very pointed but intentionally obtuse. That's going on. It's very much a coming of age story, but told in the most
Weird way. There's a
weird way
kid
you
with
could
a
possibly
horn
could.
growing out of his head, and there's a robot that comes out of his brain,
A
and
robot that comes out of his brain, and
there's a hot girl who's older than him that he gets a boner from his head, and
yeah, it's a head boner. That's a robot turns into.
That's a robot turns into,
Yeah.
and it's really good. But
It is.
other Ava adjacent things, non-mecha, I will say Ping Pong the animation is very introspective and philosophical about two guys who are friends who compete in ping pong.
Thank God it is about ping pong. You never know with these kinds of things.
It's really good.
Fair, yeah.
And then I always throw Mob Psycho 100 out there because it's also very similar.
That's
With
another one I've heard of that I haven't watched. Yeah.
yeah,
so.
they're both of those shows are easy watches, but they have things to think about.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're not going to get another thing that's ever close to Evangelion. Like there's nothing that really exists within anime that like is something to like really chew on and something that people will be talking about for 30 years after it comes out. Like One Piece kind of is that because it's been going on for so long and there's a lot of themes in there. A lot of things you have to look past the veneer to see. So kind of similar, but I don't know.
I mean, like if we're just going like adjacent to Eva, like think like Satoshi Kon stuff for sure.
Oh yeah, I do like some Satoshi Kon stuff.
Yeah,
I know
like TV show wise, Paranoia Agent.
Yes, we both enjoyed that. We watched that a few years ago.
Paprika.
Paprika, the good Inception. I remember that was like before I even met my wife. I watched like Paprika like with an internet friend, like trying to sync it up with her, and I was just like, this is great. Like this is like I think it maybe was right after Inception came out. I was like, this is just a better Inception and a slightly more confusing one, but I get it. Like
and Perfect Blue is Black Swan.
Oh yeah.
Satoshi Kon did like Millennium Actress is really good. Tokyo Godfathers is really good.
Have I seen Tokyo Godfathers? If I have, it's been so long I've completely
Three homeless people find a baby on Christmas.
Yeah, I'd feel like maybe I've watched it and then like have somehow like it's been long afterwards just completely vacated my brain. So that means I should probably watch it again.
I mean the obvious one that people kind of drift towards is like Lane.
Yeah, Zero Experience with Lane. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but like
Madoka Magica, if you just want something that's
that. Yeah, it's like Ava is the philosophy of Ava is very positive, right? Is one that's like embracing humanity, which is why I gave those recommendations because they're about people and about what makes humans work. Madoka Magica is not that.
It's the opposite.
I think I've heard of that one as well, and I think I've heard it explicitly on the context. Like, yeah, that one's weird.
It's like it's pure hatred. Is what it is.
It hates you. It hates the characters of its show, and it hates the genre that it's in.
Oh yeah, it's definitely some sort of like I think it's supposed to be like some sort of like genre thing, like breakdown in the same way that Eva is with Mecha. It's supposed to be like that with magical girls. Okay, I've definitely I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it in that context.
It's like it's one of those ones that has a very pointed like there's a twist, and when that twist happens, it destroys you.
Yeah.
What was the one mecha anime that was just like it's like that everyone compared Eva to?
I can see it in my brain.
Because it's just like it's the same thing. It's like a biological robot, and it's
Razefon. Yes.
Razefon. RAHXEO
PHEON.
It's Razefon. It's very much like it is Eva, but if they just kind of strip out. I mean, because it goes like into the surreal. It's a biological robot piloted by a teen boy. It's got romance subplots and stuff. It's very much a genre piece, but trying to be a deconstruction of the genre at the same time. But
and then people also like to say Eureka. 7
Eureka 7, is
very Ava.
I like Eureka 7 a lot, especially the original, but like.
The sequel is so bad.
So bad. But I guess people just see it more as Ava because of like
the kid.
The kid, like you have the kid is Shinji and the girl is Rei, and she has her own preordained destiny she has to fulfill that kind of stops her from existing, kind of thing. And
it's just like people just throw it out there because of that.
Yeah, it's because of that. It's like Darling in the Franxx being the same. Like,
disgusting. That shit sucks so bad.
So
But yeah, dude, watch Gurren Lagann. That's like, I don't know. It's that's like the prosperity of the human soul. That's just like what it is.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I've heard thrown around a lot, and I was like, I'll get to that sometime, and never have. So.
there was a small period of history where I don't think there was a bigger anime on the planet. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's like 2 years where like everything was Gurren Lagann. You could go into the grocery store and buy Gurren Lagann stuff. You could you go to conventions and everyone was in Gurren Lagann cosplay. It's just
Yeah, it's definitely been one of those things. I've always enjoyed anime. I've always like watched a lot of it, but I've always stayed like pretty surface level. Just I don't know, just because I was doing other stuff, playing video games, watching other TV shows, whatever. And it's like I've definitely been watching more anime over the past like few years. I think a lot of it is because it's just really easy to like watch a few episodes before bed, like especially with a kid, because it's like I'll crawl into bed and watch like 1 or 2 like 23-minute episodes. That's less dedication. Like these hour-long freaking like prestige TV like live action shows right now, like so I'll go ahead and so like I've been watching more of it because of that. I'm just like, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and find more anime to watch. Now I'm just like, oh man, I'm watching all the ones that I've been at like the top level, and now I'm just like, okay, well, what am I gonna watch? Every time I finish an anime, it's this like weird dread of like, oh, what am I going to watch next? I don't even know. I don't have a plan. I have a bunch of stuff in this Crunchyroll watch list that sounded good at the time, and now I'm like, I don't know. So,
well,
but,
fellas, you know what? I think we've done it.
we've done it. 2.5 hours, baby.
2.5 hours, shorter than I actually thought it was going to be. But
not short enough for my wife. She messaged me and she was like, "Are they holding you hostage?"
Yes, actually.
Yes, actually. So.
Actually, he's the one that started this last conversation. So
yeah,
exactly. It's all my fault, really.
Yeah.
She was all set to watch it live while she was dyeing a dress, and then she realized that this is pre-recorded and not done live, and she was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And she never watched Ava. She was just gonna watch just the talk, just to see me talk, I guess. So, and to see JJ and you talk because she likes you guys. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we had a great conversation. I am very glad Tyler was here. This was my divine plan. I wanted to have when you said you watched it for the first time, I was like, I want him on the recap episode. I want him here to see the crazy shit and also hear his thoughts. So I'm glad you're here. I thank you for coming on.
Yeah, and to be honest, it proves that you understood the show's bullet points fundamentally better than a lot of people online have.
Yeah, and that is comforting to hear. Like it's been a long time since I thought maybe I didn't get it, So it's like,
I mean, that's where we both started. That's where JJ and I both were at some point. Like you probably got things that I didn't get the first time, and the whole point of the show is to talk about it with other people and connect with other humans. Like it's the whole point. So
our own private instrumentality.
Yeah. and it is funny, like just the whole point of like connecting with other humans. It can be especially like I don't know, this is like kind of like weird and like almost cheesy, but it's like it's you almost lose that whenever you have a kid because you're so focused on like raising this small tiny creature, and like everybody jokes about the fact that it's like, oh man, it's so great to talk to somebody that's not a toddler right now, but really like it is a treat to like be able to talk about something like this when I've spent like the past like 4 hours like trying to entertain a small child by playing Sonic Frontiers and then watching the Three Musketeers movie because I had a filling fix today and I didn't have the energy for anything else.
Wait,
like
which Three Musketeers? The Mickey Mouse Three Musketeers?
Yeah, the Mickey Mouse one. Oh man, that was great. We're trying to get her off a Clubhouse because we think it's like maybe causing her to be too hyperactive. So
well, soon in another decade or so, she could start watching Evangelion. And
oh man, I can't wait to watch anime with her. That's gonna be so fun. I've got like Blu-rays of like Cardcaptor Sakura and Digimon Adventure that are just ready to go whenever she is.
Beautiful.
I can't wait till she's like 16 and she has like a sleepover with some friends. I'm like, girls, we're watching Your Name tonight.
Slides, Princess Mononoke across the table.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Yeah, let's wrap this up now.
I mean,
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tyler, for coming on. I'm glad we could titillate your brain.
Yes.
I'm glad you took something away from this. I'm
Poke
glad
your
that
magi.
you poked your magi, open your brain out. But yeah, thank you everyone. Next
That's one of
week,
those things where I'm like, oh wait, I watched it in Japanese because I'm like, do they actually say magi in the English dub? Because it's Maggie in
Yeah.
Japanese because of the pronunciation,
Mhm.
Maggie. So I'm like,
Right.
oh okay, that makes more sense now.
but yeah, next week, fellow watchers of the show, we get to
Mm.
discuss our epic and awesome favorite movie, End of Evangelion, the movie I've seen one time in my life, the movie
Several,
that
Same.
has the first time I watched it, it made me cry, and I haven't watched it since. So I'm curious to return to it. And yeah, I hope if you can see it in theaters, you do. I know JJ is. It's not showing close to me, so I'm not going to.
Yep.
But I'll
Next-
watch it from my
Next
home.
Tuesday, they're doing the Death and Rebirth movies in theaters, and next Wednesday, they're doing the. Well, I'm saying next as if you're going to be listening to this. So it's July 21st, 2026, and July
Yes.
22nd, 2026. Yeah, back in theaters for the 30th anniversary. So Zach is just a brilliant tactician. I get to watch the movie we have to talk about in theaters the day before we talk about it. That's nuts.
I did it. I planned it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for
Touched by the
watching.
hand of God.
Touched by the hand of God, like everybody else on the show and everybody
Yep.
on this show
This show.
talking about the
God's
show.
favorite children. Exactly.
God's favorite children. Thank you guys. Thank you, Tyler, and thank you, JJ. I'm
Thank you,
glad you
Zach.
guys let me do this thing. It was a crazy couple of days.
We're all
haven't
better for
played
it, Zach.
haven't played video games in 3 days.
Now's your
Impressive.
treat.
Now I can play video games again.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. See y'all on the
See
next
you all
one. I
next
hope
one.
you survive the third impact.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.